Hello and welcome to the Total Truth Show. My name is Altuney from the Gold Coast in Australia.
And my name is Ken Kleinberg, coming to you all the way from the USA, more specifically San Diego County, California.
And I'm Stacy Michaels. I am also from San Diego, California.
And we have a hot topic for you today, the truth about finding your dream partner, straight after this short introduction.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Total Truth Show, hosted by myself, Ken Kleinberg from San Diego County, California.
And I'm Aldwyn, known as the Media Queen from the Gold Coast in Australia.
And our goal here on this show is to help you to break away from the mainstream media propaganda and lies, the disinformation and misinformation that's out there in the mainstream, and really help you to start questioning everything and start doing the research for yourself. We want to punch through all of that disinformation and misinformation. Our goal here is to raise global consciousness to quantum critical mass and then pave the way for a new awakened civilization. And we would love for you to come along for the ride. Don't take our word for it. The things that we share here on the show, that goes for our guests too. Start doing the research for yourself. Start going and asking the questions for yourself. Get out there and really find the real truth behind things. So with that, let's get started, you guys. Let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome.
Oh, yes. Welcome. I've been looking forward to this show, and you'll see why in just a moment. Now, a little bit about our amazing special guest, Stacy Michaels. She is a personal trainer, a nutritionist, internationally published model, actor, TV host, and published author. She's the owner of Stacy's Fitness, helping thousands of clients reach their peak health and body goals. She has a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in musical theatre as an actor, dancer, and singer. And she's graced the pages of countless magazines as a fitness model, as well as a spokesperson for various fitness products, including the Shake Weight Girl. You might remember the Shake Weight Girl. We covered the Shake Weight on one of our previous shows. Hilarious. Love it. And now Stacy has also become a published writer and author of How to Date Your Dream Woman. And today's topic, of course, how to the truth about dating your perfect partner.
Dream mate.
The truth.
Yeah.
Dream partner. Yeah. The truth about dating your dream partner. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you here. And Ken, my amazing co-host, of course. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Now, this is such a hot topic. Now, in the green room, we were saying we're all actually single, right? We're all single, which makes this topic even more pertinent for those that are single out there, as well as for those that are in a relationship. We aim to cover the whole gamut here today and talk about dating your dream partner. So, Stacy, firstly, I'm actually surprised you're single because you are absolutely stunning. You're intelligent. I mean, like we are too. We're good-looking and intelligent people, all three of us here. However, really, like you are, like unbelievable, really good-looking lady and very intelligent. So, how is it that you're single?
Well, for one, I'm extremely picky. I'm someone who is happy with who I am. I like me. I spend a lot of time working on things that I find passion with. As far as you saw my list of attributes I have and my accolades, but I also am, I just finished, I think I told you, a dance show just 3 weeks ago. So I was busy doing dance rehearsals as well as running my fitness business. So for me, I have a very stress-free life for the most part. Stress comes here and there. So if a man is going to come into my life, it's going to be the right person because I don't want him messing up my peace. And so I'm very particular with who I'll date. I'm not single and desperate. I'm single because I'm very particular about who I will date and who I want in my life. And I think that makes a difference. A lot of people who are in relationships often will settle. I think I've seen it with clients a lot of times. And then later they either regret it or they're not really happy. I mean, all of us have gotten married couples that are friends of ours that I would say I'm about maybe only a quarter of the clients I've had are really happily married. Because remember, I become like a therapist almost when I'm training them. I'm hearing their stories. I'm hearing their frustrations, and they're venting to me. And so, a lot of that has put an impression on me as far as relationship, and knowing that I want to be very particular on who I am in my life.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And you know, particularly since we take on the energy of the people we sleep with. I've really noticed this, you know, for myself as well. I mean, I'm 49, never married, never had kids. I've had a series of relationships, and my longest is 7 years, interestingly, 7-year itch. And I found the older I get, the shorter my relationships tend to get, because we just don't put up with as much crap. So why do you think that is, as you get older, that you get more selective?
For exactly what you just said, we don't put up with as much crap. I was actually watching this Derek Jenks. He's a coach for women, for relationships in general, but he generally coaches a lot for women in finding the right person. And I loved this reel he did, and he was saying that the reason why older men pick younger women many times is because they can still pull the wool over their eyes. Where older women will call them on their shit. We've been there, done that. We've been burned. And so we're right on top of, no, you're not doing that. So many times these men who don't want to grow, who don't want to improve who they are, they want to stay their jerky selves, if you want, sometimes they will go for younger, because they can pull the wool over their eyes. See, as we get older, we get wiser. I also believe as we hopefully get older, we become more attuned with who we are. We have a more love relationships with ourselves, in that we learn to love ourselves better. So if I'm going to love myself more, I'm going to be more cautious of who I bring into my world, because I know more of who I am and what I deserve. And I think that happens as we get older and learn more about ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must say, there for a while, I was a little bit desperate, I must say, because the clock was ticking. You know, I was 38, and it was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had kids yet. I thought it would have happened between 30 and 35, you know. So then I started online dating, looking for the one, right? And oh my gosh, you know, guy after guy after guy. There's no shortage of men who wanted to have sex, let me tell you. And I was just like, you know, where is the one, right? And then I thought I found the one after 7 years of being single and having a whole lot of lovers, etc. I then thought I found the one who hadn't been jabbed like myself, which I thought was fantastic after the whole COVID schmozzle came about. Thought this is great, someone on the same wavelength, you know, someone who I can have fun with, and you know, he seemed like the perfect guy, and he wanted to have kids, because most people by, you know, after they're 40, they've had kids, they don't want kids, and I thought this is fantastic, and so I jumped into that last January. It was all over by October. Turned out, you know, binge drinking and other really bad habits that weren't aligned with where I was at, and it just all dissolved. And it kind of went from hot to not. And now I haven't been with anyone for about 6 months, and now I'm like, well, I'm protecting my energy now, because I'm like, well, I'm nearly 40, nearly 40, well, 49, nearly 50 now, and you know, I still get my periods. I can still have kids if I want to, but now I'm like, well, you know, I'm if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'm just having a great time in the meantime. And so that's where I'm at with that. And I know Ken's also single. So what's your excuse, Ken?
Yeah, it's kind of funny that I'm kind of in the same place. You know, I've been from relationship to relationship, and it's interesting with the work that I did with Anna. I realized that especially the last 2 relationships that I was in, I was basically attracting a reflection of stuff that I wanted to change inside of me. And it makes sense, especially with the last relationship I was in. She turned out to be a mess. Her family turned out to be a big, you know, a big giant control freak family. And the whole situation was a mess. And I really got hurt in that process during that last relationship. And that was years ago. Mm-hmm. And after that, after I got out of that, I was just like, if God wants me to have somebody, he's going to bring me the exact mate that I need, the exact person that is perfect for me, flaws and all. And I'm done. I'm not going to search anymore. I'm not going to try anymore. that's where I come from, you know. So
well, that's interesting you say that, because that's almost what I was going to say, was that I kind of live by the let, it's kind of like having your purpose. If God wants that for me, it'll happen. And I found if I just let, like with that old saying, Jesus take the wheel, you know, if that's the case, if that's what he wants, just like with children, I think we mentioned it before we came on camera. I never had that calling to have children. It was never a, I want to be a mom. It just never, I never had that. But I never said if it didn't happen, I would dismiss it. But I'm also not objective to, if God said, I need you to adopt this child, especially like we were talking about this movie, Sound of Freedom. I'm a big supporter of this movie. And we see that, you know, in learning more about the trafficking and that, many of these kids are taken when there has been some kind of natural disaster, like a hurricane. And so sometimes they're orphans. They don't know what happened to the parents, like the tsunami. So they're orphaned, and then it's really easy to traffic them because there's no one looking for them, right?
Yeah.
So many of these kids, when they're rescuing them and they've got to put them through a kind of a rehab, they need someone to take them after that, someone to raise them, someone to be their parent and to love them. Now, if God said, if that was to happen to me and God said, I need you to do this, I'm not going to say, no, not me, you know? So I just kind of leave it open as to where he wants me to be and where he wants me to go. And that it ties in with relationship and with children. And I think if you do that, you don't put as much pressure, like, oh, I got to find someone, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And since I've given up the desperation of wanting to have kids while I'm, you know, a certain age, and hey, there's a lady here on the Gold Coast had a child naturally at 50. People have had kids naturally in their 50s, well into their 50s. So, you know, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not, it's not. And in the meantime, I'm having an amazing life. I've got so much freedom. I love my freedom. And, you know, I just got back from 2 weeks in Bali. Tomorrow I'm off 2 weeks in Thailand. And then I'm a week in Sydney. And I'm doing all this traveling. And if I had a child right now, that would be a little bit more difficult, right? So, you know, I nurture a lot of people in my life, and I nurture a lot of animals. So I do feel I get that nurturing instinct out. Like I have a cat that's now 15, like Ken does as well. I've got a 15-year-old cat that I've had for 14 years that was adopted, had a lot of issues when I adopted this cat Tiger. And, you know, he's perfect because he's just like baby size, but you don't have to change nappies. He doesn't cry all night.
Right.
You know, and all that nurturing sort of feels like I got a baby, but it's a cat, you know, it's a cat. It's not quite the same, but it's still that adorable kind of connection you have with I guess another being that you're looking after, you know, whether it's a person or whether it's an animal. So there's lots of ways we can get that nurturing instinct out. Now, I want to point on what you said, Stacy, about a lot of people not happy in relationships. Now, I've noticed this through the online dating. A lot of people are married on there, and they've got you know, they're looking for someone else on the side, or they're wanting threesomes or swingers or whatever. Like it's all going on, right? And apparently 70% of people that go to brothels, of the guys that go to brothels, are married men. So that's also interesting that I've heard from people in the industry, right? So, and also women obviously have their guys on the side, etc. So people are, you know, most people are playing happy families, maybe for the sake of the children. However, in most cases, they're generally not happy because it takes something to make a relationship work. And if we look at the science behind this, I found this very interesting when I looked into this a few years ago. Scientifically, we are designed to be monogamous with a partner as human beings for 8 years. If you have a child to that partner, it extends 4 years per child. So if you look at how long a lot of relationships are lasting nowadays, if they have 2 children, it lasts about 16 years. They have 3 children, it lasts about 20 years. 60% of marriages end in divorce. Now, there's something there around the stats. I think partly online dating has something to do with that. And I think partly, you know, the cultural sort of expectations and the morals that we had many years ago have totally shifted. Like my parents have been together 53 years, right? It's extraordinary. They wouldn't know life without each other. But back when they started, there was no online dating. There was not even social media. Whereas now it's just so easy to swipe left, swipe right, get another one, off you go. You know, we're so much more demanding now, I think, as well.
Well, the
accessibility, yeah. Go ahead.
Microwave. That's the first thing that I'm going to say about that is microwave and shiny object. So just as like us entrepreneurs, we are tempted to go from one shiny object program to another. people trying to find a mate, one shiny object after another, pretty much.
But that goes back to, I think that people not really knowing their own authentic self. So if you're not whole within yourself, then you're trying to fill that void, and often will blame the partner. You're not making me happy. I love that when you make that word you make me mad. You're not making me happy. I always say, well, if I have that much power, go get me a lottery ticket, because I can't make you feel anything. That is your that's your responsibility. And I think that too often we don't know ourselves well enough. So we're trying to find the void through other sensations, whether it's been a new person, the sensation they got in the beginning of a relationship, oh, it's not there anymore. Well, it's not going to be. It's going to be a different type of sensation. And if you aren't authentic with who you are as a person, how are you going to be that authentic with someone else? I think that has a lot to do with it. And like you said, the easy access of swipe left, swipe right, let me go on to, Instagram, whatever. What I found was fascinating, interesting, that goes back to that too much available to us. Because to me, I really think we're like in the Sodom and Gomorrah life right now. I really think we're heading that way with our world of good versus evil. And I was listening to, do you guys know who Jordan Peterson is? I think he's I think he's a therapist, but he's often on a lot of reels. So anyway, he was interviewing Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard about The Sound of Freedom. And he asked Tim, do you understand how these pedophiles get to the level they're at? How do they get to that point? I'm getting to this. And he said, basically, it's from too much porn. Because so much, just think about it, that's even more accessible than ever before, and it's more extreme. I mean, what we would call what our parents would call soft porn is what they do on our movies now. And that was taboo, that you had to pay for or get, and now it's right in your R-rated movies. So that accessibility, what happens, he was telling them, is as it's almost like an addict. The dosage has to get more and more because you get immune. He said that's how they get to where they're with children, younger. He said it's because of the excess of too much porn. And I think that goes into the same thing with the swipe left, swipe right. Oh, I can see this girl, that girl. I think they kind of all jive in the same kind of category.
Yeah, and I think with all this porn watching, I think people have forgotten how to make love. Like, I think they just think you've got to grunt a lot and do a lot of doggy style and away you go, But really, I think there's a lot we can teach our men out there and women about love making, because I always say the best sex is where it's like a spiritual experience. There's where tantric and things like that. But, so many of the young ones particularly, they just want to go wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, it's all over in 2 seconds. And it's very unsatisfying for a lady, let me tell you, men out there right now. No wonder we don't want to go there. It's all over in 2 seconds. We may as well sort ourselves out, So,
and that's what men are doing. In my book, How to Date Your Dream Woman, I put the 10 guides that women look for. And these same 10 guides are what men would look for in a woman too. But I said, you could have all 10 of these fabulous attributes, but there are 2 things that can wipe it out. And one of them is, let's say this man has all the 10 attributes you're looking for. He starts leading with his dick, which is what you were saying on your online dating. They start to lead with their dick. And what I mean by that, as you know, is they're already insinuating wanting to get you in bed. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't want to know who I am? You didn't want to get to know if I'm humorous, if I'm smart, if I'm intelligent, where do I come from, my character, my morals, my values. Oh, I see. You don't want to know that. You just want the other half of me. Okay, why don't I just cut off that end and you go have fun? Yes. That's the problem. And that's one of my biggest turnoffs. And that's where a lot of men they'll try to ask me out. They lead with their dick. We're done. I won't even go out with them.
Yeah, absolutely. They should just get themselves a blow-up doll and be done with it. Right? That's going to be much better for them. But yeah, I mean, this is where they send the dick pics. I mean, really, they are the most unattractive things I've ever seen, and they're the biggest turn-off for me. I don't want to see another dick pic in my life. Thank you very much. And one guy the other day, I hop on online dating occasionally for a bit of amusement. One guy goes, I hope you're good at head. I hope you're good at head. I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful thing to say to a lady. I hope you're good at head. So that conversation didn't go any further. That was the end of that. But, suddenly it went from, getting to know each other to, I hope you're good at head. He just got too excited. He just got totally carried away with it.
They lead with their dicks. Exactly. And the minute they lead with their dicks, a high value woman, which is what you've become. You're becoming a high value woman. That's why you're very particular. Yes. And a high value woman, we're going to be turned off like that. And these men want one, then stop leading with your dick. Stop saying, I always joke, like if I had a puppet of a dick, it's like, hey, how you doing? Want to go to dinner? How about lunch? And it's in your face. How about a dick? Come on. So it's like, we don't need that. It's like if they could just say, I had this guy I dated, and he was actually much younger than I would have anticipated. But you know why I dated him for the length of time I did? Never once did he drop a hint about having sex. Never once did he send me a picture, or even like a picture. Like a lot of times these guys, because I'm very into muscular guys, will still send me a picture of their muscular body where they might be in just little briefs. Well, I know what you look like. I saw you. I don't need a picture. Well, that to me is foreplay. They're trying to foreplay like, hey, to me, when you send that picture, you're already getting me ready for like, look what you could have. Okay. I'm not into that. It just immediately led.
I always wonder, the bigger the muscles, the smaller the dick. I wonder about that. Are they trying
that's usually sometimes if they do too much steroids, maybe, but yeah. There isn't that the hand thing.
Are they compensating in other areas? We've got some great.
He's like, time out.
Okay. I am definitely more of the conservative type. So like, I that's definitely not my method of operation. I'm very, very conservative. I come from, I've been a Christian since fall of 92 and, or summer of 90. Fall of 92. And so I'm definitely that is not me. That is not how I treat a woman, a lady that's just not it.
Just imagine if we were to spend more time just getting to know each other, just taking that time, not even holding hands, kissing, that kind of interesting, but not having sex for quite a while. Because as we know, once we have that sex, the rose-colored glasses sometimes come on and we don't see them for what they really are, and we miss red flags. So if we took the time to get to know each other, then by the time you are getting intimate, there's more of a connection than the jumping right into it. And all too often, I think that's why relationships aren't working, because you never got to know that authentic person. You jumped right into sex too quickly,
Yes.
We've got some interesting comments coming through.
Oh, let's hear them.
We do. We've got Steve here. Hey, Steve, good to see you. He says, hi, Aldwyn. Jeff, you're only as young as the woman you feel. I was a matchmaker for 20 years. Okay, you're only as young as the woman you feel. That's an interesting statement, that, isn't it? Very interesting statement. We're talking about older guys liking younger women. In fact, I'm off to Thailand, to Pattaya tomorrow. And I tell you what, in Pattaya, it is just bloody sex city. And all you see is young boys and girls with much older men. In general, I haven't, not really with older women, but much older men, like 70-year-old men with like 20-year-old girls and boys. It all goes on in Pattaya, and they're desperate, and it's quite sickening when you see it. But anyway, I'm gonna be in the midst of it, and they even try to come on to me. By the way, there's that sort of desperation going on now. Facebook user here, does anyone here believe it's possible that you could accidentally pass by your real life partner because you go for the shiny thing? Shiny thing being anything that may be seen as a distraction to what you truly deserve. That's a good question.
I think that can happen, but I also believe that if it's meant for you to have that person in your life, they'll come back around. Let me put it this way. I always feel like that in some ways in our life, we have a destination we need to get to, that purpose, some people will call it, and we have free will. And God goes, well, you can take the long, hard road, or you can take this road. It's your free will, but the destination is going to be the same. So you might pass by that person because maybe you're not ready for them. Maybe your lessons haven't been learned yet. And so you missed them. But it doesn't mean that person or one like it won't come around again. But it will come when you're ready. We have a vibration. You usually end up with someone you vibrate with. Okay, so if you're not vibrating at their level, it might not be time yet.
Mm.
So you attract the vibration that you have become.
I 100%
So
agree
true.
with Stacy. Very, very, very well said. I actually I couldn't have said it better. Um, the statement here on the screen suggests that an accident could happen. You could accidentally miss. I don't believe in accidents.
I don't know.
110% in this direct. I do not believe in accidents. Everything happens for a purpose.
For a reason, yeah.
So, and then Stacy kind of took it to the next level here when she said, you know, it also could have been that you weren't ready for that person. And now it's going to be the longer haul before you come back to that particular type of person. So, yeah, very well said.
Because
Yeah,
we were talking about, you were saying that married people on the online dating. One of my biggest pet peeves, it's a pet peeve for me. It's personal. I tell other people that it's always personal. I cannot stand men who are going through a divorce and looking for a woman.
That
You're
word
not
going.
finished yet. You're not done with that mess yet.
yes,
So
That
exactly.
word going, the word going tells you everything you need to know.
Right. But it also tells me that you haven't finished that mess, whether it's a mess
Yes.
or not. But all you're looking for in me is either rebound girl, filler. It's like if someone lost it, you know, someone gave her 2 weeks notice and you're looking to fill that person. You have not learned what went wrong with that relationship. So you're not elevating yourself and you just want to fill. And it's, to me, it's like, it's such a weakness and such a turnoff to me when someone wants to replace someone like that. Oh, I'm going through a divorce. Well, why don't you take some time to get through it and finish it and figure out why you chose that person? Because it's not all her fault when they sit there and say, oh, she was this, she was that. Well, you fell in love with her, you married her, and you stayed. So there's something there about you, and that vibration somehow resonated with her. So go find that out and fix that. Don't come put it off on me. So that's a really big thing for me. It's a pet peeve when guys are like, I'm going through a divorce. Why are you out trolling then? You're not done.
Exactly. Don't bring your baggage with you. And it's like they're looking for someone just to get their mind off the partner or, you know, and it's to absolute rebound. And this is where a lot of people actually have affairs before they divorce, right? Because they're testing the waters to see how things might be, to see whether they're going to leave. Because a lot of people in relationships for a long time, they get comfortable. They get comfortable and they become like housemates instead of, you know, lovers or in a relationship. And I find this a lot. And then if they've got children, of course, then they've got to consider all those things, or if they've got property together, or, you know, it can get very messy. It can get very messy. We've got another Facebook user here, and please let us know who you are, Facebook users, and where are you joining us from? We'd love to see your name, so just let us know who you are. A lot of people online, obviously not all, are trying to hide behind dating apps because they have lost the ability to communicate to their real life partner, and this little game somehow balances them. Most people are all talk on online dating sites. They are seeking a temporary fix to a deeper problem.
I agree with that. I think I agree with that.
That's a good one.
I think that the communication, I mean, I don't know about you, but the small little short time I ever spent on online dating, I found like they wanted I called it like a pen pal. It's like all they wanted to do is do the texting. And I'm a doer girl. When we meet up, I don't want to spend 2 weeks with you talking on via. I want to go meet you for coffee, see if there's a connection, and then move on. And a lot of them were like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Well, then what the hell are you doing on here? And that was it. It was like this little game they were playing.
Oh, so, that's so annoying. It's so annoying when they do that, or they don't want to give you their number, and you think, well, you just cut to the chase. I haven't got millions of hours here to spend, you know, have with a pen friend here on a day who I don't even know. You could even be a woman for all I know.
Exactly.
From God knows where. You just don't even know who you're talking to unless you actually meet them.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, I always get on the phone with them before I meet anyway. I always make sure I get the phone number, have a chat on the phone, because you can tell a lot on the phone before you actually see them as well. You can see if there's going to be, if their chemistry is there on the phone. So I always think that's a great idea. Or do a video call. And if you've got people asking you for money on dating sites, always do a video call. And if they're stuck at an airport somewhere and need your money, well, they're most likely scam artists, okay? And there's a lot of them out.
Yep.
Exactly. So be very careful with that. Okay, Facebook user again here. We've got another comment. I think it goes much deeper. A rebellious spirit within to go deeper because we're fed what the best experience looks like. If we would learn to communicate like adults, then we wouldn't set such a high expectation based on what others say. We would set expectations with each other. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I think your expectations need to be personal, not others. One of the things I've talked about this before in one of my reels, and people will often hear this. One of the best advices I ever got was from a client of mine who had been married for many years. She actually was a family divorce lawyer, so she dealt with domestic everything, right? And I had a bad date or something one day, and she was like, okay, well, here's the best advice that she got from, I think, like her grandmother or great grandmother. She said, get a journal and sit down with it and write down every attribute you want in a man. And it's going to take time. You're not going to be able to do it just in a few hours, but don't put it in a negative form. You know, don't put things like, I don't want him to be a bad communicator. Instead, you say, I want a good communicator, or I want someone who is, alcohol free or drug free. You see, you want to always put it in a positive format, but write it out. And she said, go over every guy you ever dated, his positive attributes, what you didn't like. And she goes, be very specific on what you want. Then you close it, you put it away, and mine's up there with my angels. And then you become it because he deserves that same prize. And that again goes with that vibration. So when you have that written down and you see it and you know what you want, you're not going to listen to so much of what they want. What someone else wants and what their expectations are going to be different from yours, because maybe like me, you don't want kids. Well, then my expectations of a mate is going to be different than someone else. So you really have to know yourself so well to know what your expectations are going to be. So that's what I was saying, that person.
Love that.
You know, one comment I'm going to make to that, as far as don't put down like necessarily what you don't want, keep it in the positive. Something that I've recently learned is that's because the subconscious mind, there is no with the subconscious mind. It does not translate. There is no not with the subconscious mind. That does not translate. So you don't want to use those kind of words when it comes to the becoming part. Yeah.
Yep. There's a book I read called Be Happy. And that in that book, I got it, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, but that's exactly what they emphasized in that, is that the negative, instead of telling a child when you hand them a plate of food, don't drop this. Well, all they heard in their head was drop this, versus be very careful. Now they heard be very careful. So absolutely. When we speak to each other, and that's again goes back to don't put the negative, because the brain doesn't really hear it.
Yes, like don't think of a pink elephant. That's all you think about.
So what it ends up getting coded into the brain is something completely off the rocker of what you actually wanted, because yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And also on this thing here about, we're fed what the best experience looks like. Now, that's very interesting, because we have been programmed and conditioned by Hollywood to expect the knight in shining armor to come on the white horse and to sweep us away, Cinderellas. And if the shoe fits, then you're the one, and blah, 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 right? So, there's a certain amount of conditioning that people have an expectation of what a partner should be like, or what romance should look like, or, all that kind of stuff. So it's something that we almost need to reprogram or deprogram that expectation, I believe. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, goes back to find out what your personal expectations are versus, again, what you're saying, like, it's not going to be the Hallmark movie that you're seeing, and we all watch those Hallmark movies. And now I just go, oh, geez, when I watch them, because they're so outlandish. Every person on there, I swear, is a widow. Oh, right. You're a widow. You happen to have a kid and you happen to be a widow. Yeah, because there's no crazy ass acts on the side, right? In every one of those Hallmark movies. But I think, again, it goes back to know yourself. You've got to know yourself well. Also, the what is the love that you're looking for. Don't have this grandiose idea of what love is. Love, the 5 love languages. Know what your love language is. There's so many different levels we need to know than following what we see on TV. And I think that was just part of a trap that is almost it's too often you're going to fail because it's too much of high expectations that aren't realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've also been pushed into this consumerism with things like Valentine's Day, and everyone's buying chocolates, champagne, and, all that kind of stuff as well. And, what does a marriage proposal look like? It's really, really interesting to notice, to see people out and about. Like I notice when I go to restaurants and I see couples sitting there and they're both on their phones. And I think, well, they're really having a great time connecting over dinner, aren't they?
Right.
Or you see whole families sitting there all on their phones and they're sitting there out to have dinner and they're all on their phones. What the hell? What is going
or
on?
You're at the classic, and Stacy will totally understand this one. Or you're at the gym and you see these people that are supposed to be there working on the fitness, and all they're doing is they're sitting there, they're literally hunched down on their phone and they're just doing this. And then maybe they'll stop and do a couple reps.
Right.
And then it's back to this. And then, yeah.
They're taking their rest. Come on. Don't you know? They're resting.
Checking their Tinder profiles again.
Exactly. And I think and then that goes back to wonder why people are so lonely. Because where's their connection with humans? Or I know a lot of people that, I don't have very many friends. Well, go find ways to make friends. And part of that is like, because my hands are in so many different things, I have friends that are actors. I have friends that come from the fitness world. I'm also, what I didn't write on there is I also became a professional makeup artist back in 2015. So I have makeup artist friends. Then I have my dancer friends. Then I have client friends. So, different things you can do and find hobbies and passions, which will bring more friends into your world so that you have more connections versus just this type of connections, which does put that void, and that void gets deeper. And then they spend more time on there. It's like, that drug just gets more. I need more time on this. Yeah. And so it's get off that and go make personal connections. That's another reason why I don't crave the romantic love. People get caught up and that goes back to the TV thing. We need to find romantic love or we're not complete. Love comes from so many other things. You have love of your animal, love of your friends, love from your family. So my cup filleth over with so many other different loves that I don't need that romantic love. And I think that's the problem is many of them don't have that. They're focused only on that romantic love. And they don't, again, that goes back to gratitude. Look at your blessings, your gratitude. What do you have? There's probably love there that you're overseeing and not realizing that's love. If your neighbor, comes over and offers you, here's a bottle of wine, we were thinking of you, whatever, that's still a form of love. That's kindness and love that they're showing you. And I think so many people wouldn't even notice that. But I need to find that romantic love, And that's not the same side. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you froze for a minute. That's why I said, I was like, whoa, wait. Kind of going back to like that, what we've been taught romance is supposed to be, and what we've been taught love is supposed to look like. We get a lot of these ideas from the movies, from TV shows, and from different things like this. And then, so what does our brain do? So when we think of the concept of love, our conscious mind then goes in the back and pulls out the pictures and files of this is what it looks like.
Right.
That's what we've been programmed to. Here's the problem with that. When you are thinking in that way, you are living in the past. Most of the time, we live in the past or in the future. Very rarely are we here in the present. And the key thing of being here in the present and veering away from the future or the past is to, let's take this present moment right here and now. For example, I'm in the gym and I'm working out and I am present. I'm present to my body. I'm present to, the way I'm feeling. I'm present to the people around me.
Yes.
But let's take that a step further. Now, this is now an opportunity for you now to treat this moment as if it's a brand new moment. You have no experience in it. You know nothing about it, and try something different.
Right. Or seek the love that's the love there, your love for your body.
Right.
Your love for your health. I even like every day when I'm at the gym, I have some kind of interlude with someone else, and I'm always so grateful. I'm like, oh,
Me
I
too.
love that I had that moment with that person, and or an animal. Some people bring their dogs in because we're a dog friendly gym, and that moment with that. So I get these little bits of, oh, that was such a special moment, or love, or a conversation where maybe I helped someone. They were
Same
really,
here.
having a problem, right? So those are so many ways that my cup gets filled. That people, they're so, like you said, future, I need this cup filled with this type of person, blah, blah, blah. And they're missing those wonderful moments right in front of them. And then just having faith. That's why we got caught in this pandemic. There's no faith in that God will bring you what you need. He will protect your body. He will give you a healthy body, and he will bring you the right people and what you need. And he'll also bring you the lessons you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And our bodies are so incredible. Our bodies are so incredible to heal themselves. And one of my clients in my mass media mastery program, Lorna Buckland, she was given 3 months to live by doctors 41 years ago.
I love
and
it.
there's so many stories like this out there. So don't believe the doctors, okay?
No,
now
they're prone to kill us, I swear.
yes. Disease all happens in the hospitals.
Yes.
Now, 5 love languages we mentioned. These are 5 different ways of expressing and receiving love, according to the author of the 5 love languages.
Right.
Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. So we can see physical touch, or the sex side, is just one part of that. And as you're saying, there's so many ways you can fill your own cup up so you can help others with the overflow. And my girlfriend Tracy Corman, she runs a dating service called Two's Company, and she always said to me, Aldwyn, all the love you have for others is also there for you. Right.
Absolutely. That's so true. That's why I said, again, we have to love ourselves. And act of service, well, you do, maybe you did something nice for yourself. Maybe you bought yourself some flowers or whatever. But yeah, the acts of love, all those love languages we can do for ourselves. Absolutely. But doesn't mean it has to come from a partner either. What if your girlfriend did something for you? That's still an act of love.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be that romantic partner we put so much pressure on having, and then inevitably you're unhappy because it's not there. All those times you were unhappy, you could have been enjoying life. And like you're doing, traveling, that's what I do. I fill my time with other things I love. So my time is still filled with passion and love, regardless if there's someone there or not.
Yeah. And I'm traveling solo. I don't even have accommodation booked in Bangkok. I'm flying tomorrow morning, arrive tomorrow night, no accommodation booked at this stage. And, I just do things on the fly. Sometimes I turn up at places, like when I was in Bali, I went to Gili Air. I had no accommodation booked, and I just worked it out, and this is the thing, is it's like a whole adventure that you can go on. You don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to, ask permission to go anywhere. I mean, all these people that they're so, I've got to ask my wife. I've got to ask my husband. I've got to check my partner. I got to, it's like, well, what about you? What do you want?
Exactly. And I believe even in marriages, I think all too often that you need to have that autonomy. You need girls and both men and women. Women need to have their time with their friends, even if it's a girl vacation or guy vacation, because that's what you fell in love with, was their personal autonomy, their independence, everything that made them them. Well, let them go be them for a little while so that when they come back, you refresh that love. But when it's too much, I think that's where they lose, and then sometimes resent their spouse for being too tight on the reins, or too much of not enough of your own autonomy as well. So I'm a believer of people having their own separate vacations every once in a while, not all the time, but having that own uniqueness that you came into the relationship with.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's what made you special and what he fell in love with.
And and if you think of tribal times, you know, the women went out and they gathered, the men went out and hunted, and then they came back and celebrated around the fireplace and probably had lots of snacks after the dancing, you know. So, you know, that's the thing is, you know, women need their women time, guys need their guy time. And I think a great relationship is when you've got two people who are on their paths, they both support each other without leaning on the other. It's when one leans on the other and tries to, you know, suffocate the other person is often what happens, is because of their own insecurities. They're suffocating the other person, going, where are you going? What are you doing? Who you hang out with? How do you looked at that girl? You looked at that boy? All that jealous stuff. Because insecurity. It's all insecurity.
Huge insecurity.
And so, yeah, intense insecurity. And so the stronger we become within ourselves, I believe, as women, as men, the more we get to know ourselves and what we like and what we don't like and how we feel and how we don't feel after certain encounters. And I started to feel, I must say, with all the lovers I had, etc., I started to feel really scattered. And oftentimes I would just feel like crap. I'd have sex with someone, I'd just feel like crap. And you know, during it felt okay in the moment because we all like to be touched and all those kind of things. But it just afterwards, it always felt so empty. And then after a while, and then of course, then it got to the point after 7 years of that, where I finally committed to a guy. And then I thought, this is the one. And then that ended up a disaster. And here we are back. But in saying that, a disaster, but I'm still grateful for the experience. You know, I say disaster because it wasn't quite what I expected. But in some ways, I'm grateful I didn't fall pregnant to that man. Now, thank goodness I didn't fall pregnant. And now it's like a clean slate again. And now I haven't been with anyone for ages. And I'm very happy in my own space, and I am working constantly to lift my vibration to become the best version of me that I can be, so that I attract the ideal man. So that's where I'm, and I might have already met the ideal man, but maybe we're not vibrating on the same frequency.
Exactly.
Yet, right?
Maybe
so,
it's not there yet. Exactly. I was watching a video. I don't remember his name, but it was another video I watched. And these are like, I like to watch people who are very inspiring, like, you know, Tim Robbins, excuse me, these people who are very motivational speaker types, right? And he was saying that this happened to him. He went to a club or bar with two beautiful women that were his friends, both equally beautiful. And he said one girl was getting hit on and getting hit on and getting hit on, and the other one wasn't at all. He goes, because the one that wasn't getting hit on, she had a vibration of, she knew who she was and she wasn't going to put up with any shit. Where this was very insecure, constantly nearly validated. So shit is what she got. So what she was getting picked up on didn't mean it was quality, man. It was just quantity. Where this one, all too often, I think that what happens is when we raise our vibration, you're not going to get the lower vibration coming onto you because they know she's going to push me away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think women need to remember that as they become more in tune with themselves and more authentic, and men too, that you may not have the people coming on you like you think you're going to, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Am I just less attractive? No, it might be that your vibration, they don't see you anymore. They're too below you. Their vibration isn't jiving anymore.
Yeah. What's, you know, to add into that, and by the way, it looks like Facebook user is Justin. But to add into that, hey Justin. To add into that, it's like one of the things that I'm learning right now is that your reality that you have around you right now is it's simply this. It's an illusion. It is a reflection of what is in here. You have literally created that.
I completely agree. And I've heard that many times with a lot of spiritual healers that I've listened to. And absolutely, it's almost like they say, what's in your life, you brought into it. And so, but I also believe that what's meant to be into your life is there too.
Correct.
So, you know,
and yes, all of that intertwines. You created it, but it's also meant to be there. There is no accident in that. Yes.
Exactly. So why are we fighting the flow? I mean, you know, why fight the flow? Okay, so you're alone. Maybe God, prime creator, Yeshua, whatever you want to call that omnipotent being, is saying, I need you to be alone on that mountain. Jesus went alone a lot of times, 40 days, 49, because that's the time I need to work on you, whatever it may be. And so you go, okay, while I'm alone, I'm going to find other things to feel joy versus always looking at, I'm single, I'm alone, blah, blah, blah. You know, like you said, you're going, yeah, I'm going to go travel. I'm going to go have some fun by myself. You found an opportunity to make it the lemon into lemonade, you know? And if more people did that, I don't think we have such a high people on Xanax and on antidepressants and all of that are so unhappy because they're just not seeking out that it doesn't have to look like what everybody tells you it needs to look like. Enjoy where you're at and know that that's where you're supposed to be for now. And more will come, you know?
And you made another interesting key point there too. Stop fighting it. It's there for a reason.
Exactly.
And that for me is something that I am learning, is to just stop fighting these things and stop being in battle, because I will often fight some of these things and I'll be like, why is this happening, and why this and why that, and why can't I get to this level, and blah, 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 you know? And I am very slowly, and I say that humbly, very, very, very slowly learning how to do that. And basically, that's me saying I have not mastered it yet.
Well, and then we have to, again, it goes back to faith. I'll tell you guys a little story. So my biggest dream when I came out here just 1 month after being 18 from Salt Lake City, Utah. And my dream was to become an actress. And, you know, that's why I went to a school of performing arts for college. And for so long, I couldn't understand, why am I not making it? Why does someone get that role? Why is this person getting that role? And, you know, for so long, I would, you know, how come you're not listening to my prayers, right? But in the meantime, I don't know how many times I would have sexual come-ons from agents and managers. And the minute I would turn them down, they would, you know, I'd be with a top agency and then I wasn't getting auditions anymore and stuff like that. So I'm going to make my story short now. Now, with what's happening right now, and we find out how corrupt Hollywood is, I think God was protecting me. And I look now, I think he was like, I don't want you in that world, Stacy, not right now. Because it's full of demons, satanic, and pedophilia, and so much more. He did not want me there. And so every time I was upset, he was like, be patient, my child, because that's not where I want you. And I see that now. But it, you know, for so long, I was doing the same thing. Why? You're not listening to me. I know I've tried. You know, all of that. And again, we have to have patience and faith that you are where you're supposed to be for a reason. And eventually, if you listen, you will end up knowing what that reason is.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. There's something I heard in a landmark course I did, and they said, be committed, not attached. Be committed to what you want, not attached to what that's going to look like. The more attached we get to wanting an outcome, like I've got to have a partner by this date and blah, 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 the more we get attached to that, which was kind of like where I was at 38, like, oh my gosh, I haven't had kids yet, better quickly find someone to have kids with. And there was just all this desperation. And of course, no shortage of men wanting to hop on the bandwagon, but, you know, it wasn't satisfying, you know,
right.
And it didn't lead to children, as it turns out. And here I am 10 years later, and, you know, actually living my best life, to be honest. I'm living my best life, and I feel like I'm just getting started at the same time. So be committed, not attached. I think this is gold in all areas of life, but particularly around relationships. And when we're talking today about the truth about dating your dream partner, you know, be your dream partner, right? But I love what you said, Stacy, about, you know, write that list out and then be that. So actually, you know, consider what you write on your list, because I did that once upon a time. I actually wrote a huge list of what I wanted in a guy. And I remember a friend asking me, they said, oh, show me that list you wrote. And so I showed them, and they said, don't ever show that list to anyone again. There was that much on that list. You know, there was that much. I thought, okay, maybe I'm being a little bit picky here. Maybe it's time to maybe it's time to embrace some of those things and really own it and be it, and actually look at all those things and go, well, am I actually really being? If I want someone really fit, am I really fit right now? If I want someone really generous, am I really generous right now? If I want someone kind and loving, am I, like, really check in with yourself and get to know yourself. So talking about, and we'll come to some of the comments. Thank you so much for everyone who's put comments in the chat. We will come to those before we finish this show. But we're on a roll here with this conversation. So I want to chat about this raising your vibration. What are some things you do, Stacey, to stay at your peak condition?
My biggest thing, and again, because I came out here at such a young age on my own, I put myself through college. I went to a 4-year private university and did it myself. Well, you know, I'm 5 foot nothing, little person. And what saved me at all times is discernment, that gut instinct. Okay. So I really, really listen to that, because that will tell me, that gut instinct, that person's not good for me. This person's a good vibration. So that helps to keep my vibration up at a good level, because it tells me, and I listen. That's the key about what I need to have in my life and what I don't. Part of also is being humble enough to accept and take responsibility for your own mistakes and things you've done to others. Because how are you going to learn if you don't accept it? And that's part of it. Yeah, all of us had that, oh, when someone tells you, you did this, and you want to defend it. And I try to just breathe and go, okay. And then how hard is it just go, you're right. I did do that. I mean, have you ever done that and watched someone's face just be like, they validated me, versus defending yourself? That's all really they wanted, is to be heard, but that helps you grow. I also try to learn from listening to others and my clients and the things that they're doing in their lives, and just, really learning from my mistakes and learning from and growing as much as I can and becoming that list we talked about. That's how I believe I keep my vibration up. And one of the key things I did, it's happened in the past, but really recently, was when this pandemic, the shutdown came, it really opened my eyes to the people I wanted in my life and the people I didn't. That time, in this time frame right now in Good versus Evil, you really saw. And I purged a lot of people out of my life, and I don't regret one of them that I purged, because they can bring your vibration down.
Yes.
And I really had to have the right people around me to keep that vibration going and to where I want to be.
Now, I have an interesting question. It's sort of in line with what you're talking about there. So you talked about how you learned to listen to your gut. And another word for that is intuition.
Right.
Okay. So in this book that I'm going through right now on Audible, The Happy Pocket Full of Money is what it's called. It's a great book. I definitely recommend you get that, Stacy. But he talks about trusting and relying on your intuition and feelings, and being able to tell the difference between your feelings and intuition and between your emotion and thoughts. And I was standing there. Actually, I was listening to it today at the gym, and I was standing there doing leg lifts for lower abs. And I'm like, what is the difference between feelings and intuition and emotion and thoughts? And how in the world do you tell the difference? How do you tell when you're having an emotion and being able to tell whether it's an emotion or whether it's a feeling or whether it's intuition? How do you get through that mess, which to me looks like a mess a lot of times?
Well, I think that's like a muscle. It's a muscle you have to learn to hone in on. I learned very early on when it would be a mess because I was so young. I didn't know that gut instinct. And when I didn't listen to it, it hit me. I had this one intuition. I was about 19 years old, and I had an interview with an agent up in LA. And I heard, to me, I always feel like it's a whisper too. Like my angels are giving me, and it's not words you hear, but it feels like it's words. Like someone's giving you a little thought in your head, and there's something inside that wasn't my thought, but it's so brief. It's like just a wind blow. And I heard as I was walking to this office, you don't want to go in there. You go in there, and I'm like, I'm just being scared. Whatever.
That's what I would have thought. Just as you said that, I'm like, okay, that's what I would have thought. Okay,
right. There was that brief moment where I heard that you don't want to go in there. This is not a good idea. And I thought, I'm just being afraid. I'm just, I'm not going to get anywhere in this acting world if I don't try. So I got in there, and this agent came. Oh, he was so gross. He gave me a script, and the girl was supposed to be alluring this man. He goes, and you can use me as the subject. And if you need to sit on my lap, I can be part of it. I swear to you, he said that. Now I got afraid because I was like, I'm stuck in this room. I don't know if he locked that door, So I had to get quick on how do I get myself out of here and not piss him off? Because, so I just literally, I had to think about it. And what I basically did is, oh, okay. And I played the stupid blonde, I missed that. I was supposed to sit on your lap, right? Okay, we'll try it again. And then I'm like, I have another audition I need to get to. And I got out of there. And because see how I remember, you have those defining moments in life. I remember once I got in my car, started crying. I'm like, darn it. I was told, my discernment told me, don't go in there. And I've had that moment and one other moment when I was very young that I didn't listen. And I was like, you cannot do that. You have to trust that gut instinct, but you will start to learn. It's like a muscle. It's like when I tell a client, can you squeeze that glutes, or can you pump that bicep, and they don't get it yet. It hasn't connected. So sometimes you press on the bicep and then they contract it. It's a muscle that has to be learned how to be used so that but you have to learn to trust it. And once you start learning to trust it and you're right on the nose, then okay, that's discernment. Because so many times what will happen too, you have to have confidence and faith, because often I will get a gut instinct and I can't back it up with any fact. You guys been there before? I'll give you another example. I was in a gym, just working myself out, and one of the trainers there introduced me to a new trainer they had, right? And this guy's talking to me, and the hair on the back of my neck was like, oh, I do not like this guy. I couldn't tell you why. It was nothing he said, nothing he did. He was very pleasant, but everything said to me, I don't like this person. And again, people would be like, oh, you're being judgy. Why are you judging him? So the trainer come over, he goes, what did you think? I go, keep him away from me. And then he'd say, that's what that guy said. Why? What did he do? He go, I don't know. Just keep him away from me. I don't like him. A month later, he was fired. And they found out, I go, why was he fired? Because he left off his application that he was a felon. He had been in jail. He was convicted. See, I didn't know that. But my intuition, and that's sometimes hard because our gut instincts will tell us something and we have nothing to back it up. And that's really hard for people because you're conscious and you're trying to be, have a reality check. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why am I feeling that? Because there's no fact check right there, and you have to have enough faith in your discernment to know, you know what? I trust my discernment. The rest will fall in place and tell me the truth later. And that's a hard thing because you got to be able to stand on that mountain by yourself sometimes and have faith in that discernment.
I love that, Stacy. I think it really is, this trusting your gut instinct. It is a muscle that you exercise, really. And I found, particularly, I've been very masculine in my energy as a journalist for many years in traditional media. It's a very male-dominated industry. And to make it in that industry, you got to take on, some macho-ness. You've got to take on some bravado and a lot of masculine energy to, it's go, 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 go. And so for me, I had to really work on coming back to my femininity, coming back into my body, feeling into my body, feeling womb space, feeling, doing all the women's circles and getting into my body, doing meditation, doing yoga, things like that. I've had to really practice to come back to my body, to listen to my body, because I was so much in my head. And of course, we've got three brains. We've got the gut, the heart, and the mind brain, right? And all three connect. And so the more we can, the more we can sort of tune in to all three, the more harmonious experience I believe we'll have of life, the more in flow we'll be when we learn to trust our gut and we really feel into that. And it comes to trusting yourself too, I find, because I think for a long time I didn't trust myself. And as I've learned to trust myself more and more and trust my gut, I've found that it becomes easier the more you do it.
It does, because again, that muscle, and you kind of know, like Kim was asking earlier, how do you know the difference between an emotion or a feeling or the gut instinct? You learn to know. I know the difference between a glute, a hamstring, and my quads. I know what they are because I've worked them. So it's the same thing. You just learn to work that. But I think I think that is going back to what we're having to learn right now in this moment as a planet and as humans. Part of that gut instinct is God instinct, and trying to get us to learn to use it rather than be, I hate to use the word, but be sheep.
Yes.
How do you discern what
Yeah.
media was telling you the truth?
Yeah.
Right? I
Absolutely.
personally know what I resonate with. You'll hear that word. If I'm
Yes.
watching someone, if it resonates well with me, I know it's truth. And when
Yes.
I'm not liking it, I'm like, no, because I have so much attunement with my gut instincts and my intuition. And so many people have shut that faucet off and they don't listen to that instinct. So they live in more fear, because to me that's almost God's, you're communicating. That's kind
Yeah.
of the communication he's having with you, or I say my angels, like my angels whispering little things in my ears, And if you've shut that off, how fearful that must be in life, because it's almost like you're driving blind to me. And so anything
Yeah.
someone tells you, if you're driving blind, someone goes, go right, okay, you're trusting what they say and you don't know for sure. So
Yeah.
this is the time right now that we are being tested as humanity to learn to connect with God and have that intuition again. Otherwise, we're getting screwed over if you don't.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally with you on that. And I remember when I first heard the news on COVID, I went immediately, my gut went, oh, here we go.
I know.
It was immediate. It was like, oh, here we go. What's the agenda this time, right?
Exactly.
Because when something is blasted all over the media, there's an agenda. And having worked in the media for many years, we used to see things blanketed all over the media that weren't written locally. It was coming from one source and it would go everywhere. And I know now, whenever something goes blanketed everywhere, there's always a hidden agenda. And if you want to know what that is, just follow the money trail, my friends. Follow the money trail. Watch the Out of Shadows documentary, brilliant documentary that came out through COVID, and it talked about how we've been brainwashed by media, by Hollywood, etc.
Operation Mockingbird.
That's right.
Amazing movie. Out of Shadows had 10 million views in the first month that came out. In June 2020, I believe it came out. It had 10 million views in 1 month and then got shut down off all the major platforms. Yep. Interesting. If there's nothing to hide, why the censorship, my friends? If there's nothing to hide. And so watch that Out of Shadows documentary. I've started a Conscious Community Global Facebook group, and we do have a link to it that is active at the moment, or last time I checked, it was active. So go to the Conscious Community Global Facebook group. I recommend check out some of the documentaries in there, watch the Thrive documentaries, and it's very important to question everything. And this is why we do this show. This is why Ken and I started this show. We're encouraging people to question everything, particularly if it's blasted through the mainstream media, because your health and your life is at stake, right?
Yes.
How do you want to do your life?
Absolutely. It's like survival of the fittest. Do you also encourage them to watch The Fall of Cabal? The Fall of the Cabal.
Yes. I've seen that one, and yes, I've mentioned it. That was actually my red pill. It was that one, the 10
the first 10 series. There was the first 10 series. Yeah. Now I think they're on 26. I haven't watched the newer ones.
I haven't watched the rest of them, but I do follow the channel. So when
that's a good one, because I find when I'll have people who are just waking up, if you will, and they'll ask me like, well, what is the Cabal? I'm like, oh, that's too much for me to answer. So I will refer them to that, because that's a good way to get all the answers in that 3 hours of the 10 series. Those first 10 are really imperative, because that kind of gets them up to snuff in a way. But yeah, I was amazed how many people believed. Like, I remember just looking at people going, really? So you really think this thing's so deadly that it's not going to kill you because you're wearing a mask while you're walking, but the minute you sit and eat, somehow it knows you're sitting and eating and it's not going to get you.
I love it. Or here's the one that I use as well. It's like, I couldn't help it. It was 2 weeks ago. It was at my church, and the guard outside, because my church is downtown San Diego. So, it's like we got homeless, we've got all kinds of different things. So the building has a guard. The guard was out. For the first time I think I've ever seen this guy, he was wearing a mask. This was 2 weeks ago. And I just couldn't help myself. I approached the doors to go into church, and I was just 1 foot in, and I felt this nudge, and I was like, I'm going to go talk to him. So I approached him and I said, I've seen you here for weeks and months. Why all of a sudden are you wearing a mask today? And he's like, well, I'm kind of a little sick and I don't know if it's COVID or not. And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, when we had the flu or the cold before, did we ever wear a mask? What's so different now? He's like, well, I don't know if it's COVID. I said, all right. I said, let me give you something else to think about. I said, how big is a virus particle? And of course he doesn't know. So I'm answering for him. I'm just like, it's one particle. It's one micron. Micron. Thank you. 1 micron. And then I said, how big is a water vapor particle? It's 60 microns. How big are the little fabric holes in most masks? 80 microns. I said, dude, do the math. And I said, here's another thing to think about. If you can smell anything through that mask, which I'm pretty sure you can, think about how that particle of smell is getting through the mask. And I said, you know, I'm like, take it for whatever you want. I just want to help you maybe have some logical thoughts through this. And I walked away. It just drives me crazy.
I'm the same way. You planted that seed. That's the most you can do. But like I've had clients, the same thing. Well, I don't know if it's COVID. Okay, what is COVID? Tell me what it is. SARS coronavirus. What is the flu? What is cold? They're all forms of SARS coronavirus. So they're all, they just have, right? So they're all, so when they sit there and go, I have COVID, or I took a test. I love that. I took a test. I've never once ever, all of you out there, I'm so virgin with this. I've never once taken a COVID test. I never wore a mask, and I never got any shot whatsoever. But I always go, well, gosh, that's interesting that you went and got tested. What did you do before 2020? Because I'm pretty sure we all knew we were sick just by knowing we were sick. We didn't need a test to tell us we were sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, they're still so pro. And these are some of these people who do this, like some of my clients consider themselves conservatives. But I'm like, you're still a little brainwashed. Because look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're still watching the news is what that is.
And the fact that you get a little bit of a cough or a little bit of sniffle and you think, I need to go get tested. Mm-hmm. Did you do that back before 2020? So you're still a little brainwashed. I'm like, you stay home.
It's sad because here's what happened. And I admit the first part of summer of 2020, there was definitely a little bit of panic and fear, but also because I've always been at a point to where I never really trusted the government. I've always known that there's something sketchy. I just never was able to put my finger on it. And it wasn't until a friend of mine, I was on a call with him and he just happened to ask me a bunch of questions, help me think logically. And then he's all, here, check out this documentary. That's where I watched The Fall of Cabal. But the thing of it is in a sense, it is sad because it's the biggest psyop that's ever been played on mankind was played that summer. And they used fear to literally hypnotize people. And when I say the word literally, guys, I am not exaggerating. I mean, literally, this is a real thing. This is a CIA operation. They do this all the time to people. This is a real thing. They did this to the world population. You have a front row seat on what exactly happened and how they did it. They use fear because anytime you have fear that comes into your life, now that I'm more attuned to it, when I have a situation, it just could be a normal life situation come up, and I try to think logically through that, it is very hard for me to think logically when I'm in that state of anxiety or fear.
Right.
The fear and anxiety literally will block your logical reasoning centers in your head. And then whatever follows after that are usually the instructions that they want to give you on what you need to do. So you guys think about it. That is what happened.
Well, if anybody ever wonders how they behave in the Holocaust or how did all those people kill those Jews, it's the same playbook. He used tuberculosis to scare people with tuberculosis. Yeah. Those Jews got you sick with tuberculosis. See what they did? I mean, it's the same playbook. And if how you behave now is how you would have been probably in the Holocaust. So, when you sit back and judge, well, here it is. And if people that are watching don't know what MK Ultra is, go look it up. MK Ultra. That was back in the 60s. The CIA started with MK Ultra. They should also go follow a woman by the name of Catherine O'Brien. Catherine O'Brien is a survivor of human trafficking, and they MK Ultra her. She was sold to the government as a child back in like the late 60s, early 70s. And she's got a documentary called Trance. And that's a very good documentary to watch. But it goes back to the MK Ultra, but it still goes back to, again, discernment. Even in the Bible, and it says, thou shalt not fear 365 times. Thou shalt not fear. He's already telling you. Fear is what evil feeds off of. That's why they needed that fear. It feeds off that anxiety. It feeds. It's like you're giving them food by being afraid. And they're winning in that way. And you're right. The minute there's fear and anxiety, all discernment goes away. You lose your brain in a sense, you know?
Yes.
And that's when you have to have your discernment and go, let me relax. Let me chill. Let me take the fear away. Is this something I really need to be afraid of? Or is this something that I'm being fooled by? And take that moment. But people didn't do that. They just got frantic. And they just started again. And then what do they call it? Tell-I vision. Tell-a-lie vision, right? They programmed you. You know, so again, it goes back to we need to get that discernment. And that goes back to also why we were talking about, you said that you found a man that he didn't get the jab. And I was telling you that I'm that way too. I will not date someone that got it. And the reason why, well, for one, I'm worried about the protein shedding, right?
You don't want that stuff in your body. And if you mate with them, it's going to get in your body.
But it also tells me about their character. Okay. I'm someone that you would have had to put a gun to my head for you ever to get that stuff in my body. I would have stand on a mountain by myself before you ever. If there is a will, there's a way. And I don't know how many times I've heard people go, well, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did.
Oh, I hate that.
Yes, you did. No one put a gun to your head. Well, I would have lost my job. Okay. Did you try religious exemption? Did you try a medical exemption? Don't tell me there aren't some conservative MAGA America First doctors, or even other doctors in Europe and everywhere else that feel like we do, that you can, there's doctor-patient confidentiality, right? Hey, doc, I'll give you $450. We go in your office. He puts it in a trash can. He puts it in a sink. Okay, yeah, you got your vaccine. That's another route. Another route was some people got fake cards. If there's a will, there's a way. And when you stand by your conviction, you will find a way. And so when people go, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. And that's why you're telling me something about you when you tell me that you got it. It tells me a little bit about your character.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I'm loving this conversation. This is just absolute gold.
When I found out what was really going on Aldwyn, when I found out what was really going on with that vaccine, I about shit my pants with some of the videos that I watched. Oh my, that really did scare me for a little bit. I was just like, are you kidding me? This stuff is in there?
And especially 99% that you'll recover from it. Why, if you could be that barely 1%, why are you so, but again, the brainwashing, the television, 99% chance you will survive it. So why are you, the likelihood of you finding other ways of curing yourself and or letting the body cure it. But there it goes back to when people would ask me, like, I never wore a mask, anything. I go, you know what? I have a stellar immune system. I have faith in the body I've built that I know my immune system will fight that off. So I'm not afraid of it. But I found people who were super overweight, super unhealthy, were the most fearful of it. Well, maybe that's something you should have a come to Jesus moment with what's happening in your body, that you don't have enough faith in your immune system. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
Good point.
Absolutely. And media channeling is another way to say tell-I vision as well. And, it's interesting. I did a video about the dangers of 5G on my balcony in Southport. I did an interview about the dangers of mask wearing. Both of them got taken down off YouTube. Both of them are now up on my BitChute and Rumble channel. channel. And I must say, I'm so grateful for alternative media, for the truth media out there. And thank goodness, in some ways, we have social media, because now people can actually create their own media. Now we have truth channels out there. As much as there's censorship on Facebook, we are the news. There's censorship on YouTube. We know it. I've had several strikes on, and I keep speaking my truth. So many people are too scared to speak their truth. And this is what I stand for, is helping people speak their truth, no matter what other people think. There are way too many sheeple. I call them sheeple. Way too many sheeple out there, and you're either coming from love or fear. Now the trick is, and this is the challenge in today's day and age, is as you go down the rabbit hole and as you start to watch some of these videos, there's going to be likely sometimes you're going to feel very angry, you're going to feel very upset, which is a very low vibration.
Yeah.
And so my recommendation is, as you go down into these places, because you will feel it, you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel pissed off, you're going to think we've been lied to for years. Some of the stuff is really hard to believe. That's why so many people bury their head in the sand, because it's easier that way. They say ignorance is bliss. Well, get educated for your life. If you really want to live a long, healthy life, then get educated, then do your own research, and don't blame us if you suddenly die of a heart attack, as so many people have through COVID. How many cardiac arrests have there been? Unfortunately, my whole family got the jab. Unfortunately, my dad got shingles. One of the biggest side effects is shingles. And now all these anti-shingles, shingles medications are coming out everywhere. Interestingly. Now, recently I went to Bali. I was on a trip with 9 women. Nearly everyone had the jab. Out of nearly everyone that had the jab, apart from myself and one other lady, 4 of them got COVID. And this is what I'm noticing, more and more people who've had the jab are getting COVID, whereas I'm healthy, I'm happy, everything's going great. And so do your due diligence, and each their own. And if you have had the jab, I know a lot of people have had it and wish they didn't have it. And if that's you, there are ways you can help to clear it out. Send me a private message and I can help you with that. Okay, there's ways you can clear it out as well. So you get educated on that. So as I say, the challenge right now is, as you go into these dark places where you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel sad, my recommendation is the sooner you can bring it back to gratitude, you're automatically lifting your vibration. You now have this new information. You can now make new informed choices for your life. You can now educate others. You can now lead people to other places where they could watch a documentary that may totally shift their view of life. And once you take the red pill, there ain't no going back to that blue pill. Let me tell you, there's no turning back. And so we are at a point in life now where we do have those that are awake and that those are asleep. And, wherever you are, you have to live with your choices at the end of the day. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. Everyone's on their own journey, right? It's not about waking everyone up in the world. Everyone's doing what they feel is best for them, right? You're all doing what you feel is best for you. And if you're happy doing what you're doing, then keep on doing it, right? Keep getting those booster shots, right? Go for your next booster. Really, what's going to light you up and make you happy. But don't be surprised if you suddenly drop dead, because so many people have, right? So by getting informed, you can educate yourself and make informed choices, empower yourself, right?
Exactly. And we've got Tim here, Aldwyn, if I'm going to share this one. We've got Tim here who's got actually a good question. What would you do if your current spouse took the jab and you didn't?
Oh, good question.
That's hypotheticals are hard to say. When people ask that, I've heard of that happening. Like on podcasts I've watched where that happened. Some marriages didn't work because, again, the character you're. In fact, I have a client. He didn't get it. The wife did. They're now divorced because it also was part of a shining of how different their vibrations were. And where they stood on so many things, it kind of opened up his eyes to it. So again, maybe that's an awakening call that someone needed to have, see it for a bigger thing. But as far as what would I do, I don't know, because I don't know how many times people ask me, what would you do if this happened? And a lot of times when you are faced with it, you react differently than you thought you were going to.
Yeah, it's true.
So, we'd have to ask someone where that happened with them. But I think it's an enlightenment. Again, I think it shows a little bit about the character of the person and where their mindset is, that you're not aligning with that anymore. That's why they call this the Great Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are waking up on so many different levels and so many different things. Like I said, I purged people. I have no regrets on those people. I let go. And maybe you're not, okay, again, this is like someone could call it conspiracy theory or whatever they wanted, or an observation, but I believe too that we're at a point where we're getting an opportunity to elevate our vibration. And I think that we're and exponentially too right now. And maybe this is a time that your angels, your higher spirit is saying, look around you, even if it is a spouse, they're not for your higher self anymore. And maybe this is time to let it go. This is me personally, everybody. So if anybody gets mad, this is just me personally. I don't believe until death do us part. I don't believe in that. I think that people come into our lives for lessons. Where we come, and all relationships, whether it's a girlfriend, friend relationship, parent-child relationship, lover relationship, we come into each other's lives to learn and elevate and grow. But I think sometimes the contract or the lessons are done, and maybe it's time to let it go. So I'm not someone that believes until death do us part, but that's me personally.
Yes, I think, as they say,
yeah,
people come into your life for a reason or a lifetime, they say, right?
Right.
A reason
we don't know.
or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Ken.
I'm curious. Now, I'm a little bit more open to what you just shared, and I think one of the reasons why I'm a little bit more open to it, even though I am a conservative Christian, is because my own mom got a divorce, and it was a very good thing, an extremely good thing, and a very freeing thing. But what would you say to, I mean, because I know that there in the Christian world out there, there's a lot of Christians, and I can tell you're one, but there are a lot of Christians that would, would kind of have a really hard time swallowing that at where they are in this particular point in life right now. What things would you say to that?
Again, that goes into your own personal character, morality, your beliefs. No two minds are alike. We can all go see the same movie and come out with it something differently. Mm-hmm. Again, this is my personal. Do I believe in the Bible? Yes. But I believe that I'm going to read it and God's going to speak to me and what I need to know and how I'm going to interpret for my journey, not for someone else to tell me. And I think all too often the Bible is used where people are dictating what they think it's interpreted for. It might not be his message to you. It was a message to them.
That's a good point.
I think sometimes they interpret it as till death do us part, but people also didn't live that long back when the Bible, well, some did, some didn't, but I just feel like in my heart, in my discernment, I've always felt like we have contracts with people. And a contract would be that person that you sat at the bus stop and he was the most beautiful person you met for that hour. And that was the last time you'll ever see him. But you had that contract for that moment. Or you have a contract with someone for the next 30 years. But I believe that we have contracts that we are to learn from each other and one another. But we also have to learn that sometimes when the contract's up, don't keep pushing that square peg into a round hole. It may be time to end it, because there's more lessons to go on with. And that's where I think sometimes too many marriages are unhappy marriages, because they're still sticking with it, because perhaps their religion says till death do us part.
Yes. Or they're just comfortable. They know that person. It's convenient. Maybe they're sharing a place, they're renting together or bought together, or, maybe there's a whole array of reasons. However, I have heard of many relationships breaking up during this time because there were different opinions between the partners. And, today's show is about the truth about dating your dream partner.
Right.
And this is actually very relevant because, what is your dream partner to you? What makes a dream partner? And how do you date or find your dream partner if you're not being like your dream partner, which I think is a big underlying thing we're talking about here, and about how we're vibrating and how we're vibrating at life. And look at Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. If you want to know more about that, we've got in the Conscious Community Global Facebook group as well. You'll see the whole chart on the different frequencies we vibrate at when we get in different emotions. And when we're in fear and anger and all those things, we're below 150 hertz, whereas when we get into love and above, we're 528 hertz and above. So your highest vibrations you're going to feel are going to be love, peace, gratitude, joy, and enlightenment. They're the highest vibrations. Okay. Now, I do believe we go up and down this scale quite a bit in life, but the trick is how can you move through those low points quicker so that you can have a greater experience of life? Because the more open your funnel is, the more open you are to opportunities, the more open your mind is, your heart is, your gut is, the more open, the more in tune you are, and the more, because we're all connected, right? Everything's connected. We are all incredibly powerful beings, and the powers that be, so to speak, these evil elite, will want people to live small lives because they want to control and rule. They want to divide and rule. They want to have people living in fear so that they can control you. And the sooner that we get as human beings how powerful we are, and the sooner that we rise up and connect and collaborate, as so many common law groups coming out now, this great awakening is definitely happening. There's a massive shift in energy happening right now. And, I'm certainly feeling it's a very exciting time we're at right now in all of history. To think we are here right now at this time in history, right. It is a true gift to be here right now. And you are here for a reason, my friends. Those watching, there's a reason you're watching this right now. You're tuning in right now because maybe there's something that just resonates with you here that we're talking about. And maybe you could share this with someone who might actually get something out of it too, right? So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let us know, what are you getting from this conversation so far? Let us know, what are you learning so far? What are you getting? What's something maybe that you're going to take on moving forward from this? And the truth about dating your dream partner, let's come back to this again. The truth about dating your dream partner, a big thing we've been talking about is to be like your dream partner, the dream partner you want. So for those that are thinking, well, I don't know what my dream partner would be like, what about for those people? What do you say to those, Stacy?
Again, I would go back to, we've all dated. I mean, unless you're 16, 14, whatever, and you haven't dated yet, you're not going to know what your dream partner is. Yeah. But what did you like? And what did you not like? Start writing those down. They started being blueprints for you. Perhaps some people had really good father figures that gave the shoes, the big shoes to fill, right? Well, what was it about dad that made him that wonderful mold that you want to fill? Write those down. And I think when you start writing it down and thinking about it, and that's when you start to know what you want and what you don't want. But again, not putting it in negative, but just seeing. I mean, that's how I did it. I basically went through from my first boyfriend when I was 16. What did I like about him? What didn't I like? And just kind of went down there. From maybe someone I only dated twice. Again, we don't know that they were part of our lessons, our blueprint of what we're defined, right? And that's how I think that you learn. But also part of what you were saying before I forget, it goes along with, you were saying, how do you lift your vibration and your authentic self? All too often when something makes you angry, like you were saying, what I try to do more than ever anymore is take a deep breath and go, why is that making me angry? Why is that triggering me? What is it I need to
step back into a neutral position and give yourself a chance to examine and breathe.
Is it a lesson I need to learn? If someone's irritating me, right? And I'll have that. There'll be a client that's like, oh, she's just bugging me, right? Why is she bugging me? What is she triggering? What am I to learn from this? That's how because it's a little morsel of beautiful lessons, little miracle lessons that we're missing if we just get angry and I'm in the right. It's too easy, and we live in too much of a narcissistic world to take a narcissistic approach to it versus just stepping back and owning my anger, because I don't want to be angry. Like you said, I'd rather be at the higher happy vibration. So how fast can I get out of this anger mode? Okay, why is this pissing me off? What is it I need to see? Because if I don't learn it, God's going to show it to me in a bigger lesson. It's that caterpillar into a dragon. He's going to keep making it bigger and bigger until I learn. So I'd rather learn it when it's a caterpillar, figure it out, and then move on to the next lesson.
Yeah, beautiful. Coming back to self-awareness. And, one of my mentors, Ben Harvey from Authentic Education, he said there's 3 steps to healing. The first step is awareness. The next step is acceptance. So accept things exactly as they are, exactly as they're not. And then the next step is appreciation. So how soon can you bring that awareness and acceptance to appreciation? That's how you move through that challenge there. And I love that self-awareness of, oh, why am I triggered by this? What is it? And it's usually something from your childhood, right? Because most people have some version of, I don't belong, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. Most people have some version of that underlying all the bravado, all the
or
external.
maybe triggering you because in one way or another that person's abusive and you don't see it. They're being very manipulative abuse, because verbal abuse and gaslighting can be very tricky and very, very subtle. And maybe it's irritating you and you're going, but I'm putting up with it. People only treat us the way we allow them to treat us.
Yes.
So if you're allowing them to do this, it's pissing you off. That's another thing that I look at too. Is this something that I'm not being true to myself? I'm letting them treat me a certain way and I'm letting this behavior happen. Well, what are you going to do about it? It can be that as well, because you'll hear people complain about, this person does this to me, this person that, well, why are you letting them do it? Exactly. That's why they're doing it, because you've allowed them to do it.
Exactly. People only treat you how you allow them to treat you, my friends. Oh my gosh, so true. I've learned that one the hard way, that's for sure. And how you feel that you deserve to be treated, right?
Exactly. And I have to learn, when you're around a lot of people like Ken and I are as coaches, there are times it's been very small and very slim. There are times I've had to let a client go because they were too negative. They were too much, and maybe a little abusive in a way that I had to say, you know what, I'm not the trainer for you. You need to find someone else. Because again, I'm being authentic to myself. And as much as I want to help you, I'm not going to have you let me be your punching bag. So those are the moments we have to remember to honor ourselves. And that's not narcissistic. That's the difference we need to remember. There's a difference between narcissistic and being true and love ourselves and honor ourselves as people, and not let people treat us a certain way. I know a lot of people love to be fixers, or they love to help and they feel good when they're doing something for someone else. That's great. But if someone's using you, you need to be able to stop that as well, because you're still getting hurt in the same token.
Absolutely. Yep. And the business client relationship, it's interesting because I've had the same thing. I've had some very negative clients over time. And, and it's the beautiful thing about business, you can sack your clients, right? Or they can sack you. You can actually choose who you want to work with and what kind of environment you're going to enjoy with what kinds of people. And this is why I do so many courses and so much personal development, because they're the kinds of people I want to hang out with, people who are up to playing a bigger game in life. And the only way that's going to happen is when you get this self-awareness of how you're doing life and what your limitations are and what your blockages are. And if you want to fast track your success, you need to have self-awareness, whatever that takes, right? It could come through hypnosis, RTT, EFT, whatever therapies you do. We all have our different ways of, finding nirvana. Right?
Exactly. And when you do that, then your relationships, whatever they are, you're going to attract better relationships in general, whether it is a mate or a friend or whatever. You're drawing that better individual, because, and I also believe, this is my own belief, but I don't know how you think. I sometimes think God brings people in your life that are a little messy to see if you've learned the lesson yet.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes.
Are you going to let that person abuse you again? Or this is a different person, but same abuse, right? Or are you going to step up? Because I think once you finally nail it, he goes, all right, girlfriend figured it out. She learned it. So I think we get tested too, to make sure we've got it.
Absolutely. 100%. We do get tested all the time. And this is why some people attract the same kinds of partners again and again and again, because they haven't got the lesson yet.
Yes. And I think if you notice this, I have a friend, of course won't say her name, but literally everyone has gotten worse.
Oh, wow.
They're not learning that caterpillar's turning into a dragon, because it's like someone whispering, oh, you didn't hear me? Let me get a little louder. Oh, you didn't,
Yes.
They're screaming in your ear because you're not getting it. At what point are you going to wake up and go, you need to stop this. You need to love yourself and go, I don't want this anymore.
Yes, that's what it really comes down to, is love. And I've got my little love heart here, actually, sending love to everyone today, because, you know, this is really what it's about. Whatever your choice is for yourself, however you do your life, it's your life. You're 1 in a billion just by being born, right? You are 1 in a billion. You are extraordinary. And how you do life is your choice. Now, when you look at the stats of a third of people die by the age of 65. 1/3 of the population. Now, I've noticed through COVID, I've lost a heap of friends through COVID, unexpectedly, a lot in their 50s, heart attack, a lot of cardiac arrest. I wonder why. A lot of cardiac, and then, of course, 4 times the suicide rates we've had through COVID as well. So not to mention the mental health issues out there. Yeah. So being empowered in life, you know, to dating your dream partner, back to this topic here, dating your dream partner, being your dream person for your life, it takes something. It takes consistent effort. It takes working on yourself. It takes the personal development. You know, all my mentors that I know, they all study. They say that leaders are readers, right? So learn, keep learning, keep discovering, keep questioning, keep an open mind, and feel into what feels right for you, because one open heart is 5,000 times more powerful than a closed mind. And this is where looking after your temple is so important. And I know Ken and Stacy, both of you are so into health, into physical health, nutritional health, etc. How important has that been on your journey to be your dream person for your life?
Oh, it's huge. People, I'm not shy about telling people I date only fitness guys, because it is my language. It's not a religion, but it kind of is. It's my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So yeah. We eat a certain way. We have supplements. We go to, we work out. So if you're not jiving on that, for me, that's a huge compatibility. And that's one of the attributes I put in my 10 guides that we look for in a mate. What the first one is compatibility. So compatibility is fitness. Now, if you're someone who is like, I come from Utah, which is a very big Mormon state, right? I'm not Mormon, but I have a lot of Mormon friends. Well, some of them are high, their religion, it's imperative they marry someone who's Mormon. There's compatibility, because it's a lifestyle, how we're going to raise our children, where we're going to go to church, how our beliefs. This is compatibility, and fitness for us and a healthy lifestyle is a huge compatibility. It's a deal breaker. I can't date someone who isn't, that fitness and health isn't important to them.
I would definitely resonate with that. Yeah, I would definitely resonate with that. Now, I may not be as like rigid as maybe you are, Stacy. I mean, I picture you as like being like this rigid, fitness person that just, I don't know, maybe not. But I think I often, I like to say that I definitely eat healthy, but I also like to say that I feel like I eat like a king.
Okay, yeah.
And if I want to have something, I'll go have it. If I want to go have Chinese food, I'm going to go have Chinese food. Now I know that's not the best choice, but so this is kind of where I'm coming from. And I often think, that sometimes I wonder if people, go, well, you can have that. Why are you telling me that I need to limit that in my life? And so, I mean, that's where I'm coming from. So the thing of it is if you have a good solid foundation, a good solid base for your eating routine, for what you put in your body on a regular basis, then yes, you can go out and you can have those times where you splurge. Your body will handle that because our bodies are extremely, our bodies are very capable like that. But if you're going out and you're having those things all the time, that's where it comes to be, like, okay, no. I don't know about you. You strike me as an animal protein lover. I that's one of the things that I
do eat meat. I do, because really to build muscle, red meat, actually your muscles love that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a plant-based, not at all. My protein powder, I do plant-based because my body really doesn't like the whey, WHEY, the whey protein. My body doesn't do well with that. So protein powders, I go plant-based. But other than that, I do a little bit of everything. I still have my carbs. I don't have an enormous amount of carbs, but I'm
Yep.
choosing. I have, a serving of rice or a serving of oatmeal or, different things like that, fruits, vegetables, good fats. So I do a moderation of everything. And like you, if I want a burger on the weekends with my friends, I'm going to go have a burger on the weekends. But that's an exception to the rule, not the rule in the way we eat.
Yes. There we go.
Because I've gone to, I don't know if you have, but I've gone to, like, people will invite me to barbecues or parties, and I'm the fittest person in the room, right? And people will watch me eat. They'll watch to see. I mean, you talk about fat shaming. There's actually fit shaming. Like, I can't sit and have a plate of food without people watching what I eat. Strangers, they're friends, but I don't know them, right? And they'll go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see that you eat. Well, because it's Saturday, it's my day off. I just did 2 hours at the gym, right? And I'll have a plate full of food. And sometimes I'll want to mess with them and go, oh yeah, I eat like this all the time. And I look like this, But it's like, they are like, I'm so glad you eat. I'm like, because they think in our head, to look like this, we only eat salads. Or we only, in their head, they go to extremes. Like, to look fit, you have to have such a strict, I'm going to have to give up everything in my life. And I can't have all these things. And you must live a salad and whatever life. No. And it's these extremes. And that's just part of lack of knowledge of how to live a fit world, But yeah, so I'm that way too. I mean, I have the weekend. Ice cream is my Achilles heel. I love ice cream.
Ooh, yes.
I don't do it every day, but it is my Achilles heel, So yeah, I have my moments. One of the things for me is I'm going to be going on vacation, and when the girl I'm going with, she goes, are we going to go to the gym when where we're at? And I said, oh, hell no. I do gym. That's what I'm doing when I'm working and everything else. When I'm on vacation, I don't want to see a gym, but I'll be active. But I'll do active things. I may go snowboarding or go kayaking. I'll do active things, but I don't want to be in a gym on my vacation. So there is, we have a lifestyle like that, but we do have our moderations and our exceptions.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the compatibility of all of that. That is a key thing. I want to go back to something Aldwyn said that was about educating yourself, reading, and all of that. Okay, so another attribute, it's funny, that I have in my 10 is intelligence. And I say to people, intelligence is like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. My level of intelligence I want in a partner is not going to be the same as yours. We're all going to have different levels of what we want, what we see as intelligent. Right. But part of being intelligent keeps the spice in the relationship because you're always learning. That's part of growing. And being intelligent is they're always learning something new and growing versus being someone who just got stuck in that comfortable, numb life and not learning anymore and just stopping their growth. And it goes back to what you were saying, is that's why, to me, intelligence is a good attribute I look for in a person. And that means to me, they're always wanting to enhance what they know and learn and everything about life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big one for me. It's a non-negotiable, actually. I don't care how good looking they are. If they can't hold a conversation, there's just nothing there. It's just like, you may as well rub yourself up against a tree. Really, it's just not very satisfying, is it? Not scintillating in any way if we don't have that intellectual stimulation personally. So that is a non-negotiable for me. What are some other non-negotiables for your dream partner or to be your dream self?
Oh, non-negotiables for me again would definitely be the fitness thing. So I personally, fit doesn't date fat. Just not going to happen for me. It's not. I think you're telling me your lifestyle right off the bat. Non-negotiables. I'm with you on the intelligence too. And again, it's beauty is the eye of the beholder. Because I met a girl, she started dating this guy, and I knew this guy, right? To me, I just thought he was so dumb, right? And she goes, "Oh my God, he's so intelligent." And I told him, I go, "You need to marry that girl." He thinks you're intelligent. So see, that worked. That was work. That worked. I'm like, marry that girl. And he is. He's engaged to her now. I'm like, there you go. Perfect match, right? Strong character is a deal breaker for me. That's a big deal breaker for me. And that goes back to, again, getting the job or not. If you had strong character, you stood by your convictions. Like, I'm not getting that no matter what. So strong character, someone who stands what I can't handle these people who waver. You know, I like the color red. And then someone comes around and says, oh, I like blue. Oh, you know, maybe I like blue. You don't have a strong belief system. You're not strong. So strong character, even if you're disagreeing with me, I have more respect for the fact that you can go, you know, Stace, I don't really see it that way. I see it this way, but I like that you see, you know, whatever that I like that you stood up to me.
Yeah.
And you have strong character and conviction of who you are. So that's a strong, because if I'm going to war with you, I want to know that you have strong character conviction of what you're fighting for and what you believe in, you know? So that's a deal breaker for me if they don't have a strong character. And again, that goes kind of back to what I hate to use these terms, but that's kind of like an alpha man. I can do a beta man. I will out alpha the hell out of him. It won't work. You know? And so that strong conviction, the strong man who's strong in his beliefs, because I'm going to have so much more respect for him. If that's what he believes in, that's what he wants. Good. I like that. So I'm trying to think there's so much of that. Someone who's not confident, insecure man, that's a deal breaker. Because all too often insecurity leads to cheating. It leads to nefarious things because your insecurities are taking over. Where someone who's confident can be confident and stand alone, even if it's not the most popular thing to do. So confidence is a huge thing. If they're not real confident in who they are, that's kind of a turnoff. So yeah, those are some things for me.
Yeah, there's some beautiful things. I personally, on my list is I want someone adventurous. I want someone with good morals, with faith. You know, faith is really important. Integrity is thrown around a lot, right? But someone who's integral in they say what they say what they'll do and they do what they say. And I know there's times we all haven't done what we've said and et cetera. And it's kind of an ongoing battle to be in integrity. However, generally speaking, overall, you know, when you're up to a big game in life, I think there's always going to be more you can do, right? More you want to do. So being in integrity is honoring your word and honoring yourself. So having that self-love, I think, is really, really crucial. As you say, if they're insecure, it's just not going to work. You know, they're you know, in my dating journey, I had a lot of guys would say to me that I intimidate them, which I found very interesting. That I thought, well, I didn't think I was that intimidating. I feel I'm pretty feminine, and you know, however, they found they were like, oh, my life's really boring compared to yours, and you know, stuff like that. I'd get right. So obviously just not a match. And, you know, it's interesting with the online dating. I've met some people that I've actually stayed friends with and just as friends. And, you know, it's been a great way to actually meet some people. And one of them I'm actually going into a business venture with soon on the Gold Coast, someone I met online dating, and we've become great friends, you know, so that kind of thing can happen too. However, I think at the end of the day, if you are in a relationship, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time to get to know someone and all that stuff, right? So when you look at your lifestyle, Stacey, you said you have a very full life. I have a very full life as well. In fact, and I know that because I've had issues around getting close to guys, I've had fear of intimacy. I know that I've kept myself very busy so as not to get too close to men. I know that's been a thing of my past as well. And so I am very aware of that. However, it's all about, you know, what are your priorities right now in your life? And where do you choose to put the hours in your day? Because that is the most valuable thing we have is our time, right? So, you know, really considering all of that, is this person going to add value to my life, or are they going to take from my life? Are they going to lift me up? Or, you know, am I going to feel lifted, let's just say, because no one can really lift you up. But, you know, am I going to feel with this energetic match that it's going to be an uplifting experience, or is this going to be a depressing experience? Right. So getting conscious to all those things, I think, is absolute gold.
Well, are you familiar with Jay Shetty? You guys know who Jay Shetty is?
Jay Shetty, yeah, he's great. Jay's awesome.
I love him. Well, he did a reel, and he said that, and I don't know if it was a study he read or a study he did, where it said it takes 100 hours. Now think about this, everybody. 100 hours just to make a casual connection.
Oh my gosh.
Casual connection. Nobody dates for 100 hours before jumping into bed.
No.
Right? It says 200 hours to make a stronger connection.
Wow.
So, and the reason why I said this, because you said take the time to get to know each other.
And
I think I remember you saying this in the last interview that you
did.
sent me. Yes, I remember this now. Yes.
Yeah, and that still sticks with me, because I think if we thought about it in hours versus when you said take the time, well, time is such a big statement. Okay, give me a time frame. And if I said, okay, I want you to date that person for 100 hours before you sleep with them. That would really give you a chance to go, okay, I'm going to get to know this person.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Wow. That's a lot of dates. That's a lot of dates.
It is. Think about that. Because if you're on a date and it only lasted like 5 hours, you got 95 hours to go. But you're getting to know that person, and you're really getting to know if this is a make or break person I want to have in my life. Yeah. You don't want them messing up your peace. So, you need to find that time to really get to know them. And I think that that's something that we should really think about, is like, how much time do I need to spend to really feel like I've gotten to know this person enough to feel maybe to trust them? Like you just said, you spent some time away from men because you didn't trust them. Well, then how long will it take you to really feel a good trust with that person? And maybe you need that. Maybe you need to say, I have to have this many hours with this person to feel like I, can get in a comfortable situation where I feel like I can trust them now.
Well, what was happening is I had relationships that were arm's length relationships. They were like part-time relationships, once, twice a week, we'd get our fix and off we go back to whatever we were doing, it was kind of like that, and so it was never really that full intimacy, that you'd feel when you fully open up to someone. I was always that little bit guarded, and that was from trauma. I got strangled by an ex-boyfriend when I was 22 and almost died, with someone that I was together with for 4 years, head over heels about this guy. One night he lost it, almost killed me. And ever since that, I've had a lot of issues around that. However, I've worked on that over time. I've done a lot of work on that. And now I guess, yes, I am busy with what I do. I'm growing the team, I'm expanding, etc., what I'm doing. And I love what I do. And I would say just sometimes I feel just a little bit lonely, because I think life is meant to be shared. And that's what I miss about not being in a relationship.
Yeah, right. And then again, you just have to feel that with other people that you can share it with if it's not a partner, and have those friends. But I remember, and I think it's good something you said, because I think that what you said resonates with a lot of people when you said, how many of us have been told you're intimidating? Right? And that was a key that you said, and we've heard that. That is really, i.e., I'm not at your vibration.
Yes.
And we have to remember that. Don't take that personally. That's actually a compliment in a way.
Yes.
Intimidating. Okay, because if I'm intimidating, then in a way they're looking up at you, in a way, not in a worship way, but in the fact that I don't know that I can get there yet. I don't know if I'm ready to get there yet. I don't know if I'm ready to take the steps to get there yet. And so you're a mirror of what I'm not yet. And that's intimidating. So I think I wanted to reiterate on that, because I know there's a lot of viewers that have heard that before, that you're intimidating. And we think that that's a, shitty excuse to break it off with you or something. But what we're saying is you got to kind of take that as a compliment, because you are maybe more evolved than where they are. And you can't lift them. You can't get them there. They've got to do it on their time and on their frequency, And those are little things we need to sometimes, as in these podcasts, are good to hear, because we take so much sometimes of that personally when we hear that. You're intimidating. I know I've heard other people say that about some guys told them that, or vice versa.
Absolutely. And what other people think of us is none of our business, actually, as well. There's another great saying, right?
Yeah.
So
what they think of us is maybe a reflection of how they feel about themselves.
Yes.
So again, you can't. You guys know the 4 agreements. You've heard of the 4 agreements, yes?
I have.
Don't
I have
take it personally, right? It's not about you. Do you know that he came out with a 5th one, and the 5th agreement is about discernment? I have not gotten it yet, but one of my friends told me about it.
I need to get that book.
Me too. But so it's that remembering that not to take it personally. More often than not, The reason why they're breaking it off with you is really has nothing to do with you. Unless you're a narcissist and you're abusive, then it is you.
I love that. And the 4 agreements, for people that are wondering what the 4 agreements are, there is a book about this. There's also a card set, a practical guide to personal freedom by Don Miguel Ruiz.
It's a great little coffee book. It doesn't take you long to read, but it's a good little rules of rules to live by kind of thing.
I have a friend, and so by me saying this, I'm not saying that it's a crappy book. Pun could be intended, but no, it's not. But I have a friend who would say that those small little dinky sized books are good pooper books.
Yes. I used to have a friend that said that too. And that's kind of what the 4 agreements is, like a small little, coffee book, kind of pooper book. Yeah. But I mean, that's one that always stuck with me. And I think I liked that one because it wasn't a religious book. It wasn't really spiritual. It was just some good rules of thumb to live by in life,
and those wondering, I've just popped them in the comments there for you, for those wondering. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Good to see Joe there and Tim and all these very cool people hopping on. Thank you so much for joining us. 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, number 1. 2, don't take anything personally. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, always do your best. And now the 5th one we said was practice discernment. So, absolutely awesome. Oh, my gosh, it's been so great chatting. I can't believe it's been 2 hours already. It's just gone just like that.
Yeah.
What an amazing conversation this has been. I've absolutely loved it. And I'll have a look back at some of the comments here. Maybe we'll touch on some of those before we wrap up. Is there anything else you want to say on this topic, the truth about dating your dream partner, Stacy?
Again, what we've reiterated before is that you need to become that. It's really so imperative that stop looking outside, look within, because you will attract it. If you become those things, it will naturally just come to you. You won't have to, so desperately try to grab for it. It will just come, and be at peace with where you are in life. Find that love, find that happiness with what's going on in your life. And if you haven't found it, then find some passions that you've always wanted to do. It's never too late. It drives me crazy when people put age on their forehead and decide they can't do something because of an age. If you've always wanted to go learn to play the guitar, go learn to play the guitar. If you've always wanted to learn French, go learn French, because those little things are going to fill your life. And they just enhance who you are, and you become more of a person that becomes more intriguing to know.
I'll tell you something more. Also, there's a few Instagram accounts that I follow, and these people on these Instagram accounts, there's one guy that I remember a couple of years ago. He used to post these most creative, crazy videos. It's kind of, if you've ever seen me do my cardio routine, and Stacy, I don't know if you ever see me jump around and do the kind of cardio
with
routine.
the kettlebell. Oh yeah.
The kettlebells, and there's a,
I feel like, who's this crazy in here? Yeah.
But there's also a routine I do with a bunch of Bosu balls and all kinds of different things. That's just part of my cardio routine. That's what I do. Some of these ideas that I've gotten have come from this one Instagram account that I follow. This guy's 75, 80 years old, and he's jumping across Bosu balls and doing all this stuff. Age is just a freaking number, you guys. I get so inspired when I see people of that age doing those kind of things, very high intensity, active things. And to me, that's an inspiration. I look at stuff like that and I go, age should never be an excuse. No. Ever. There's another guy that I saw. I don't know if I follow him because I don't think that I ever got his Instagram account, but a couple people that I follow have shared his videos. This is a guy that's got no legs, and his entire upper body is like all freaking muscle. This guy, this guy climbs, this guy hangs, this guy does all kinds of crazy shit, and he's ripped as,
there you go.
That's inspiration.
Yes.
Oh, I look at people like that and I go, honestly, there's no excuse.
Well, there's a book that came into my presence about 20 years ago. You remember Deepak Chopra?
Yeah.
He wrote Ageless Body, Timeless Mind.
Yes.
And that book has stuck with me since I read it. It came into my world because he basically says how you talk to yourself age-wise is how fast you'll age.
Mhm.
So I will
Mm.
not let my clients say in front of me, oh, I'm old. I'm getting old. Are you? Because now you're going to tell your body to follow through with what you're saying.
Exactly.
I
Mm.
It's the same
never
thing when
say
you wake up in the morning, and if you say to yourself, "I'm tired," you're
exactly
telling your subconscious mind to
tired.
make you tired.
Yes. So that whole
Yes.
age thing is stop it. I think that's another cabal thing. I'm going to find out later. I'm right
Ooh.
because I
Yeah.
that that what if we never had that number? What if why we're so consumed with it in this humanity, and I don't understand it because we put too much judgments on a number. And if we
Mm.
took it away, what kind of life would we have? Doctors do it. Big pharma that I can't stand. What do they want to know? I one time went into a doctor and I won't put my birthday. Oh, you didn't put my birthday. You didn't put your age. I go, well, you're not treating my age. You're treating my body, right? Pretty sure you're treating my body, not my age.
I love
Because
it.
what they want to do is look up your age and go, well, at that age, you should have this, and this. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's these things, these judgments, these stigmas on age. So I stop
Mm.
that. Stop thinking that way. Start letting people think that way about you, and stop talking to yourself like, "Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, I can't do that." Like you said, I'm this age. Stop. If you say that, then your body will follow through with it. And
Yes.
and so
So,
again, my mom married 8 years younger than her. My grandmother married 8 years younger than her. And that was before grandma married. And that was before they started using that word cougar, which pisses me off because that's just a way to put women down. Right. Because men have been dating younger since Moses. So
yeah. Yeah.
why can't
Exactly.
women do it? And who pisses it off? Who pisses off? It pisses off the older men that we women are doing it. Right. But again, what if they're compatible? My parents were together, and so were my grandparents till death, right? And mom was older, grandma was older. So again, they didn't let that age thing get in the way with
Mm,
compatibility and
mm.
everything else. So again, that's a really
Mm.
big thing with me, and that book really stuck with me. And again, fitness, all of that ties into keeping that youthful, younger, stimulating those cells kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. Souls are ageless, they say. I love that saying. Souls
Yeah,
are ageless. And
exactly.
what we think about and think about, we bring about. So whatever you say to yourself, you will prove to be true, right? And
Yes.
something my parents often say, they kind of joke about it. They go, whatever you do, don't get old, and they kind of joke about it. But, my dad's 85, mum's 79. They seem to be going okay. They've had a few health issues, but, I guess they've got a sense of humor about them. But, by saying that, whatever you do, don't get old is probably not
Right.
helping, the overall state of things. And I must say, I
Because
love
you don't
younger.
hear that don't. You like Ken was
No,
saying, you don't hear that don't.
yes,
You only hear, don't old or
yes,
whatever. You hear old. Where instead of a better way of saying is whatever you do, stay young. That would have
yes,
been a better way for the brain to hear it,
yes,
Yeah, and the
yes.
other thing I was gonna say earlier, and I forgot to, because there's more awesome things going on with conversation, love this, um, is using the word want. Don't use the word want. I'm actually just now learning that the word want actually creates a situation to where you're now creating a space for yourself where you're always in a stage of wanting. So it's
Okay.
kind of like the same thing as don't use the word don't or not or anything. It's kind of like that same thing. Instead, you should use the word desire. I
There you
desire.
go.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah. And again, that goes back to just that mindset, how you're thinking, all of that. Now, again, in finding a mate, you want someone who has that compatibility of your way of thinking in that way. So it goes back to, how do you think about life? How do you see things? Not everything has to be compatible, but you want to jive and resonate with that person. And I think the more you elevate your vibration, it's going to be a little more trickier and, maybe not as much inventory, if you will. It might
Yes,
slim
yes,
down the inventory a little bit, but we just have to have faith that what's to come will be.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, my brother's been married for 25 years, and he says if you've got 80% of what you want in a partner, you're doing well. So what do you think of that idea? 80% of what you want of your dream partner. Would that be enough, or would you go for the 100%?
I don't know. See, again, that's another hypothetical in a way. I think that's an individual choice. And I could see that though. 80%, yeah, because that 20% might bring the spice that
Right.
keeps that little bit of uniqueness that he has that you don't have, kind of thing. Or as long as it's not abusive or detrimental to you as a person, then I think that's fine. I think that can be probably pretty true.
Mm.
Because I don't know if we're going to get 100% of what we want, really, or desire.
Yeah.
What we desire. But I think that 80% is a pretty good number. As long as what do they say is if it's something you can live with, whatever that 20% difference is, it's something you can. I hate to use the word tolerate because that to me is a little negative. But if it's something you can live with and it's okay, like that, that's not a hill I want to die on. I'm okay with it. Then I think that it's livable. It's something it's good for you,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, love that. Yeah, I think so too. I think 80% is good. If the 20% is not abusive, if you're being kind to each other, if you've got open communication, if that's one of the biggest things in relationships is being able to talk about stuff. If you can't talk about stuff, you may as well, just go home, forget about it. You really need to be able to communicate. And, some people say compromise. You've got to be able to compromise or, find a way you can have a win-win scenario.
Right.
And be respectful of treat others as you want to be treated. I think it's pretty simple with all relationships, whether you're lovers or be respectful.
The golden rule, yes, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Absolutely.
Yes. Yep. Yes. So I'll go through some of these comments. Steve says, great conversation. Thank you, Steve. We've got so many comments here. I don't know if we're able to go through all of them. We'll see how we go. Now, we're talking about the bigger the muscles, the smaller the dick. And this one here, too much protein in some places caused a diminishing effect in others. Well, possibly. Let's just imagine if women talk to men like men talk to women. This is what we're talking about, the dick pics, etc.
Yes.
Oh, man, how most guys would freak out. Yeah, can you imagine? Oh, my gosh. In fact, I know some women do send pics of their fannies and all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Why are there so many Americans called Dick and Fanny? I do wonder about that. But anyway, that's another one, another topic for another day. Don't know why it's showing me his Facebook user. Oh, that's Justin. Yes, Justin. Thank you so much. Steve, vibrating at the same level. Brilliant. Yes, love that conversation about vibrating at the same level. Justin, I presume again, I literally can't stand not meeting in person. After a week, I want to meet in person at a public place, and that's still too long. But I get busy life, so it's much harder for some people to just meet up. This is from the dating apps we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But endless texting or messaging burns me out so quick. Yes. And then people go, oh, why didn't you respond quickly? It's like, well, I've got a life. I'm not just constantly texting you on this bloody app.
Right.
Just give me a number for Christ's sake. Let's get on with it.
Yes.
Okay. So and then some people say, oh, no, the man should do the chasing. No, you shouldn't give your number first and all this kind of stuff. Anyway. Another topic. I want chocolates year round. Don't need a holiday for that.
Yes.
We'll talk about romance.
Why are we only showing love on Valentine's Day? Shouldn't it be 304 days of the year?
Yes, absolutely. Mutual industry connection again. Woohoo! Oh, there you go. Yes, because Justin's in the film industry, so there you go. Yes,
okay.
more great film industry people. He's a production manager. My definition of romantic love is very different than most, but then again, I'm an oddball. Maybe you are.
There's the compatibility, that's like a map for who they want to find. Because when they write down what they want and their romance, then that's how you find that roadmap to who they're looking for.
Yes. And we mentioned the 5 love languages. We put them in the chat for you. You can go back over these comments. If you're not seeing them right now, wherever you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, the comments will be up there after this show if you can't see it where you are now. Tracy is awesome. We're talking about Tracy Corman from Two's Company. If you're single, reach out to Two's Company. They're awesome. Intimate partner is to me what it sounds like you all are calling a romantic partner. Hope that doesn't sound wrong. Intimate partner is what we're calling a romance. Well, I mean, call it what you will, really. I don't know. Does it sound wrong? Does it sound right? Intimate partner versus romantic partner? Lover versus friends with benefit versus relationship?
Exactly. I mean, I guess that's what someone would call an intimate partner, but I mean, yeah. And that, again, that kind of world, if you both are on the same page and that's what you want, more power to you. But a high value woman and a high value man, we don't want that. We want more than just that, friends with benefits. We're looking for something more deeper.
Exactly. Much deeper. Thank you very much. And not just physically.
Yeah.
Extreme dependency comes so quick in some relationships. Extreme dependency comes so quick in some. And it's not all about size, my friends. Okay. For guys worried about size, it's not about size. In fact, some of the best sex I've had have size has definitely not come into it.
Yes.
Now I'm sorry, Facebook is calling me. Facebook, it's still Justin here. Okay. Okay, so still Justin. Thank you, Justin. Hi, friends, he says. Okay, but so many comments. I think what helps people to not dwell on certain things, single life, unfulfilled work life, etc., is telling themselves they're meant for so much more than their current situation. It definitely helped me, but it did not come easy.
Well, I mean, isn't that partly, if you're meant for so much more, then that's the mountain you're trying to climb? But isn't that part of like reaching for what you want? I mean, sometimes, we're meant for so much more, then that's, I know that there's other stuff that I'm meant for. Okay, well, that's my journey to get there. And that's, how do I explain? Kate, my example of that is it drives me crazy to see a 16-year-old driving a Mercedes. How are they ever going to? I've never owned a luxury car. I aspire. I'm reaching for that, right? What are they ever going to aspire for? Some of us always worked to eventually have that luxury car. We went on and we had jobs and we wanted this, right? So it was something to aspire for. When you have that, then what are you aspiring for? So sometimes if you think you're meant for more, maybe that's God whispering in your ear. Reach for more. Find more about yourself. Improve on this. And, I think that I have a bigger purpose for you in life. And I want more out of you. So maybe that same, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, that I should have so much more, look at it as like, okay, what do I need to do to get there? Right?
Yes.
It's the glass half full versus the glass half empty.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Justin's saying, I was just in LA until 1 week ago. Aldwyn, love when you bring additional industry people to these shows. Well, we can thank Ken for this one because you two met at the gym, right?
We did.
Yep. Yeah, so that's awesome. The one line that really irks me from Jerry Maguire is you complete me. It's like I'm not a complete person without someone. My partner compliments me as a person plus makes me make sense.
I 100% agree with that. What do you think, Ken? I think, that you complete me. You should have been completed already. Because that's I'm broken and you're my little piece I'm missing. No, we want to be complete, and you just, it's two complete people having this great journey together. To me, that's the definition of a power couple. Is two people having this journey together, right?
Yeah,
I agree with
it's a bit of play on words, but I definitely resonate with that for sure.
Because remember how messed up he was? Jerry Maguire was messed up.
Yeah.
Come on, figure where it was coming from.
Yes, absolutely. Stacey, if you're looking for a good church in LA, I go to Calvary Tabernacle UPC when I'm in town. It's in San Fernando, and it's my most favorite church in all of the country. Just offering it up. There you go, invitation.
I appreciate that. The person that sent that. I personally do not believe in institutionalized religions. So I will not go to churches. I have a spiritual connection with God, and we have our own. But that's me. Again, that's me. Yeah. So
I get that. And I was a born-again Christian many, many years ago. And when they started to take offerings for the pastor to go on holidays and for the new TV screens in the church, I started to question things.
Well, I grew up in Catholic schools from 1st through 12th grade. Okay. So I had Catholicism down my throat in a Mormon state. So I had two heavy religions in my world. After I came out here to California for college, I started even expanding more. I wanted to learn more about different religions. And so I did it. So it's not like I stayed like this. I went to Baptist church. If a friend had a Christian church, can I go to your church with you? I'd ask, let me learn more. And one common denominator I found for me is I loved the structure of morals and values that they all had in the spirituality. However, I didn't like the control of institutionalized religions. And so that's why I came to realize that I'm not a girl who likes institutionalized religions. I'm a spiritual being with a relationship with God.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like that too. We've put a link in here to a usmagazine.com article on Hollywood sexual misconduct scandals. I'm sure you'll find that article very interesting. We're talking about what happens in the entertainment industry, and there's been several documentaries, in fact, done about this, about the sexual misconduct in the media industry and Hollywood and all the rest of it. Tim Gillette, awesome guy. Hello, Aldwyn, good to see you live. Great to see you too. I put the link in there for the Conscious Community Global Facebook group. Check out some of the documentaries there. If you've got some great docos to add, please share them in there. Please share the love. That is a great place that we are sharing a lot of amazing content in there. Now, Justin says, I'm not wanting to kill the vibe. I have my thoughts on this. No doubt similar to you. I think that's when I'm talking about the jab. We're going jab. I wish we could stay on the original topic. Yes, we were on the topic, absolutely. It was all relevant, Justin. What would you do if your current spouse took the jab but you didn't? We answered that one with Tim. What did I like and not like? Depends on the time. When I was younger, I wanted someone to play with in bed. As I got older and went through a few divorces and dated, it became someone I could share many things in life.
Yes, because it becomes more truer to your authentic soul and self, what you're really looking for. I think in the beginning, I did too. In my 20s, it was just, let's go have some fun. But then I also felt, though, the emptiness that it brought with it. That I was like, that's not feeling good, though.
Yeah, I agree. We look for more. I think dream partner changes as you change, Tim says. If you're growing and have a partner growing with you, great. It is when we have a partner that refuses to grow, then we grow out of that dream person we want. Yes. And in fact, every 7 years, our cells completely change in our body. We are completely new people every 7 years. Were you about to say that, Stacey?
Yes. And that goes back to what I was saying before, where I don't believe until death do us part. That's where I have a hard time with that, because if your vibration's gone up and theirs hasn't, it might not be meant to be anymore, you know?
Yes. And you can send those people off with love, right?
Absolutely. Because they still come into your life to teach you what they needed to, and vice versa. So they are a beautiful being that came into your life to help you grow to where you've become.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Love that. Tim says, oh, wow, that is a big truth, Stacey. I'm not sure which truth he was talking about there, but one of the truths you said there. Rob Mull says, hello, folks. Hello, Rob. Good to see you, my friend in Brisbane. Another great topic from Windows. Joe Worthy, amazing Joe Worthy, the founder of the Worthy Women Movement. Hello, great topic. She says, we've got someone else on Facebook saying, hey. She says, Joe says, oh, yes, intelligence is very sexy. Someone else on Facebook, if there's no intellectual bonding, I quickly lose interest in people, even as friends. That looks like might be just Justin comment. Joe says, lol, yes, intelligence is not negotiable for me as well. I married a very smart man. Well, good on you, Joe. Nice work. And I know it's been a very happy relationship, so well done there. A sense of humor smells good, like strong women. Courageous loyalty. Yes, Joe. Passionate. Yes, Joe. Passionate. Absolutely. I think there's Justin again. My insecurities are not as bad as they were, but when my PTSD kicks in from my military experiences, I have to sometimes try alienating myself, as I don't let it get to the best of me. It's my biggest flaw, I'll admit.
Well, that goes back to communication. Someone he might be dating, as long as he's open and lets her know, I have these moments. And there are moments where I may need to step away, and please don't take it personal if I need space. It's not space for you. It's space for me to get my head back on straight. And that goes back to having that very good open communication.
Yes, and that self-awareness as well, and owning your stuff, you know, because no one's perfect. You know, we're all perfect in our imperfections, right? You know, so it's actually enjoying the ride of life. I think that's really what it's about. Tim says, wow. Joe says, oh my God, when I was dating, there was no way I would wait 100 hours to get intimate. Intimacy is a great way to connect and get to know each other as well. I remember my girlfriend Tracy, she goes, Aldwyn, you should wait 6 months before you sleep with someone. I say, Tracy, look, I could be dead in 6 months.
Well, let's see. Let's do the math. Let's see if you did five times 4. Let's say 5 hours on the weekend, right? That's 20. 20 times 12. What is that? 20 times 12. That's 0. That's 4. That's 240. See, So in 6 months, you'd have well over 100 if you only
Oh.
spend 5 hours a week with that person.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good way to work it. Okay.
Right?
Nice. I like it. Okay. Cool. Love. Very, very cool. Now, what else we got here? Oh, yeah, here we go. Amir, lovely Amir, awesome guy in Sydney. Amazing episode for sure, Aldwyn. Keep nailing it. Thank you, Amir. For me, it was more like 10 hours, lol.
I guarantee for a lot of people. In my 20s, sometimes.
I have heard of people meeting on the first date and actually marrying and being happily married for 20 years.
And that is a rare moment. I've heard it too. Because there's always exceptions to the rules, and that might have been again the path they were meant to be on.
Yeah. Justin says, I love your parents and miss them. Thank you, Justin. Now, here's an interesting fact. Justin and I met on an online dating site when he was here on the Gold Coast, and nothing ever happened. We just stayed great friends, and here we are. Look, he hops on these shows. He loves. He's one of our biggest supporters of our shows.
And you just remind me, you said that you were someone you met. Okay, this is an important thing that I would love to tell the viewers. It's something that, again, how to seek out red flags when you're dating. This is something my aunt told me years ago. And I remember when she told me this at first, I was like, oh, she's full of it. I come to find out she was on the nose. Look at the relationship the person you're dating has with their exes. Think about that, everybody. Look at the relationship. They see how you're friends with this gentleman, right? I'm friends with 98% of my exes. And that doesn't mean that you should be threatened by them. They're friends. If they were anything more, they would be something more. But the reason why they're friends with me is because I treated them well.
Yes.
I dated what was the big mistake when I went, wow, my aunt was right, was I dated someone and I was very young and naive. And he would tell me, oh, yeah, she hates me. My ex, she hates me. Well, all his exes hated him. How they treat them is how they'll treat you.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If his exes hate him, buyer beware.
Yeah, it's interesting. The last boyfriend I committed to, after 7 years of not committing, we agreed to be friends at the end. And then the minute I walked out the door, he blocked me on Facebook. I was just flabbergasted. I was like, oh my gosh, after 10 months of an intense relationship, he's blocked me. So I've been healing from that. However, that's his way of dealing with it. That's been his. And so some of my exes, they've cut me off altogether, and some I'm great friends with. So I think if there's a certain level of maturity, you'll be able to move through this and you'll be able to stay friends. However, for those who don't have that emotional intelligence, I will call it, then they just cut people off and off they go. They do.
So a good majority of my exes, they broke it off with me, and it was again that I'm intimidated, blah blah blah, whatever. And don't get me wrong, we didn't go friends right into it. A lot of times I didn't hear from them 6 months, a year. One guy after 6 years Googled me and came back. So many of them came back, and they would say things like, you were one of the best girlfriends I ever had, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thank you. And now we're friends. But that just tells me you came back because you knew I was a good person and I treated you well. So again, that is a huge thing I look at now is what's the relationship, this person I'm getting to know, what's their relationship with their exes? And how do their exes? Now, you're always going to have that one or two crazy one that wants nothing to do with you. That could be their shit, not yours. But if they're saying that every one of their exes hated them, run like Forrest Gump with that one.
Yes, and check their relationship with their parents too. That's always very interesting too. What's the relationship, particularly with guys with their mum, with girls with their dad?
Right.
Because we tend to attract people like our parents, right? And I know I certainly did. Like my dad was always cold emotionally, so I tended to attract these men who were emotionally cold. That's just how it went. And now I have a awareness around that. So a few more comments here we'll go through, and then we'll start wrapping up this epic show. I think there has to be some kind of compromise, not selling yourself short just because, but understanding it's both of you working together, not just one of you. This is Justin again, I think. Unless you want to be the sole provider, then more power to you. So it has to be some kind of compromise. Not selling yourself short. Yes, absolutely. Romance is much deeper than intimacy, but both definitely work very well together or against each other, depending on how both people handle it.
Right.
Disclaimer, I did not do the Jerry Maguire quote. I don't know any quotes from him. Okay. Oh, okay. Whoever that was. Okay, we're always seeing as Facebook users, so not sure. Maybe they're different Facebook users here. I'm definitely the biggest hypocrite, but my church out in LA helps me stay grounded in my knowledge in certain ways that I can't do the greatest on my own.
And that's some people. My brother's that way. My brother
Mm.
to go to a church because for him, it helps him. And that's why I always say that's for me personally. I would never say that's for everyone.
Yes.
You have to find what works best for us.
Yeah. And for some people, that environment of being in a church with other Christians, some people love that environment, and there's a lot of great people in a lot of great churches. We're not saying it's all like this, but if you look at wars over time, most wars have been created over religion. So, personally, I believe it's one omnipresent, greater organized design, God energy out there. And we just have different names and different stories around it personally.
Yeah.
And I think we can tap into it at any moment because we are it, actually. You are it, and the sooner we get that, the sooner we can have that higher vibration life. My life vibrations are borderline earthquake makers. My PTSD is quickly brought up, so there's no shock value. I think this is all Justin here. Tracy and your parents told us to get married right away, Aldwyn. Hardly 6 hours into our first meet. Yeah, they did actually. They thought Justin was a great catch because he came to my animal action night and he got on there and did the sound mixing and he hopped in and he met my parents. And, it was kind of just how it went. He just happened to be in town when we had this big event we were doing. An animal action night. We're raising funds for the homeless and the animals. And Justin hopped along and he offered to volunteer and help. And he's a lovely man. And I'm sure we'll be friends for life, Justin. I'm sure we will. We're not married and we haven't gone there. Not that anyone needs to know, but we haven't. And, we're great friends. And maybe if we had gone there, maybe we wouldn't be friends right now. Who knows,
Exactly.
So, however, who knows what might happen down the track, right? I'm not discounting anything. I'm very open about my life, so there's no room for jealousy and especially drama. Got no time for that drama at all. Yes, good point there, because a lot of people love the drama, don't they? That's how we've been conditioned with drama. A lot of people bring it into relationships even when it's not there because that's how they feel relationships need to be.
Well, it's kind of an adrenaline rush for them. They like that highs and lows. If they have normalcy, they think it's a boring relationship.
Yes.
Girl that she kept dating, these abusive or drama. And I said, have you ever dated someone like who was just normal? And she admitted, she goes, yeah, I thought he was boring because he was normal. And that's something she had to look into herself because she was living off that adrenaline rush.
Wow.
Yeah.
Addiction to adrenaline. Sing it with me. All my exes live in Texas. Where am I in Texas? Thank you. I think that's Justin again. That was a wonderful night not so long ago. Yes, it was. The animal action night last Christmas it was. So only 7 months ago. I will only fight someone if they dare deprive me of Chinese food.
That's Can's the same way.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's the end of the comments there so far. Please, those who've joined us, let us know what have you got out of this show so far, some of the gems, what are some of your aha moments? And just wrapping up, Stacy, how can people connect with you?
Well, there's several ways. I've got 2 websites. The main one for most of my coaching, for personal training, nutrition, even life coaching, is Stacy's Fitness, StacySfitness.com. And you can also find my ebook in the store on that website, is stacysfitness.com. If it's for anything related to spokesperson work, modeling, acting, anything like that, it's just my name.com, stacymichaels.com, real easy. And then if you can remember both those names, you go to Stacy's Fitness on Instagram or at Stacy's Fitness World on Instagram. I have 2 accounts. And then on TikTok, it's at Stacy Michaels. So I kind of keep it same.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Stacy. And I do have a question around how you keep yourself on track and motivated. Do you have a morning routine?
I don't. That's it. Well, I mean, I probably do in a sense. Most of it is more of a how I eat and all of that. But as far as I know some people do mantras or anything like that. I don't. I don't know. My brother used to always say when I woke up, I was one of those people that they shot me out of a cannon or something. I just, I wake up with a lot of energy, and I just always have purpose. I think that's it, is having purpose. Like I have a photo shoot coming up next week. I was looking forward to this podcast, and then next week I have another podcast. And I have a photo shoot coming up, so I'm getting ready for that. And so I think it's just always having that purpose and bettering myself that it motivates me. I always want to learn and grow and know more, because otherwise life just gets boring. And so for me, there's always fun things. I want to learn French. That's the next thing I want to do, and then go to France and speak it.
Yeah,
so cool.
and meet some nice Frenchman.
Right?
Oh, here we go.
It's just one of those. I grew up as a ballerina, so the terms in ballet are all French, and so I learned to love that language. So I just, that's another thing. It's another thing I want to look forward to doing.
Love it, love it. So always having something to work towards keeps you on track. Is there some big audacious, some huge goal you've got down the track that you really want to achieve one day, apart from what you've already mentioned?
Right. I've always wanted to be on film and be able to, either whether I have my own show, like if I was, I think it would be fun to have a weekly series, like a documentary series that came out where I traveled around the world and met people who have natural ways to heal the body, and I interview them.
Ooh.
Like shamans. Every culture has some kind of natural thing they learned from their ancestors, right? If we went to the Aborigine, I bet you they have things that they use to heal the body, right? There's got to be all over the world different cultures. In Peru, there are shamans that use stuff out of the rainforest. I would love to do a weekly documentary show where I'm going around interviewing and letting the world know these different healing properties that are from the planet. Wouldn't that be fabulous?
I love that. That would be that's exactly what this world needs, is something like that. That is so amazing, and one of just a real simple thing that just kind of reminds me of is the simplicity of, and a lot of people don't know this, and I just recently discovered this during my awakening journey, and dandelions.
Yes,
we were always taught that they're a weed and to kill them and to get rid of them, and I'm realizing, I'm like, they're like the most healthiest thing all the way down to the root. Like you can eat every part of them. And I'm just like, they grow on the lawn of the apartment complex I'm in. It's like, holy crap.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the Greeks came with the oil of oregano. Oil of oregano helps to fight fungus. So if you use the oil of oregano in different ways, you can get rid of allergies, if people have sinus infections. So that came from the Greeks. You have coconut oil, and I think that what came from the Philippines, from the South Pacific, South Pacific. They were the ones that started with the healing properties of coconut oil. So see, you and I, the Indians, our Native Americans here in America, they use the earth to heal. So there's so much, but now we're getting to the politics. The Rockefeller family brought on big pharma and squashed that. And we need to bring it back to the masses and show people that God gave us everything on our planet to heal naturally, not synthetically.
100%.
And if we give the right stuff to our bodies, we heal. Our bodies are meant to heal. So I just think we need to get it out there on television.
Yes, beautifully said. There is so
I love it. I love it. So resonate with that.
So much we can tap into in nature. And in fact, the Aboriginals said that the bush was like their hardware store. They just got everything from the bush, and the plant medicines, etc. worldwide, as you say, the shamans, the ancient cultures, there's so much we can learn from these medicines that go back, thousands of years, not just, pharmaceuticals only about 200 years.
Right.
And now we're of a culture where people just pop pills and think they're going to get better, and then obviously side effects are going to kick in at some stage. Amir says the discussion on dating your dream partner sounds intriguing with Ken, Stacy, Aldwyn. Keep winning big. Thank you so much, Amir. That's lovely. Great tales, everyone. Stacy, it's been a delight to have you here. I think that's Weston again. Thank you so much. Just add me on Facebook if you want to talk industry stuff, Stacy.
Okay.
In the production industry.
I'm Stacy Michaels on Facebook.
Stacy Michaels, and it's Stacy, by the way. Stacy.
Michael is like Saint Michael, just add an S to it.
Yes, beautiful. My podcast, More Like Vlogs, is almost ready for the first 3 episodes. Woohoo! Oh, congratulations! Well done, excellent. Then we need to definitely connect, Stacy, and let's talk about it. See what we can do to try to get stuff together. Awesome.
I'm always willing to be a guest on podcasts. Absolutely.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, Ken's screen
left
is
us.
is Ken's mind is boggling with this conversation. This conversation has just gone new levels for Ken there.
It's like the snake on the what is it? The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, this has been, I think it's actually our longest show so far that we've ever done. It's like 2 shows in one. We've nearly gone, it's 2 hours 40 we've been going for. My last name is Ma, so you know it's coming. Yeah, Justin Ma. So look at MARRE. Yeah, check him out. We can definitely start working towards the series you have in mind. Start the groundwork. Well, there you go. There's an opportunity. Okay. Let's do it. Awesome. Well, there's a great opportunity there. And Ken's back. Ken's back in the house. Yay.
Did you bring back?
Ken. Welcome back. Welcome back, Ken.
I'm coming back. Yeah. I was just like, what the heck is going on? Everything just went crazy there for a while.
You're back with us. So Ken, where can people connect with you, my friend?
What did you guys see on your end? Did my screen just freeze or what happened?
Oh. Yeah,
yes, you two went on a circle first, and then I went on a circle, so I saw 3 blinks.
Oh, we're all circling together. Well, that's pretty cool. We must be all vibrating at the same frequency.
Our frequency just threw the whole thing off.
Yeah. So, Ken, how can people connect with you?
Oh, so sorry about that. Well, my link tree is the best place, and there's many links on my link tree. And so what I've done is I have strategically placed the top 3 links right at the top. So there's a link on there that's going to show how you can connect with me through my Facebook growing group. It is a group for more enlightened and empowered people that want to not just lose weight, but they want to learn what it takes and what it is to keep it off and keep it off for good. And that's what I'm about, because that is my story. I've lost 62.5 pounds and I've kept it off for going on 6 years now. And I teach other people how to do the exact same thing without a diet, because I hate diets. I hate that whole concept. Diets are literally designed by the industry to keep people sick, stuck, and overweight, because that's how that system makes money. Well, what I do is I teach you how to punch through all of that and how to find the people that are telling the truth and how to educate yourself through that, so that the things you learn, not just with me, but through what I share with you, you take with you into the rest of your life, which builds long-lasting habits and results for you. So there's that long-winded explanation. And then there is my calendar link, which is on there. You can go on there. You can book an appointment with me. Hey, I'd like to get to know you. Even if I can't help you as a coach, just give me the chance to get to know you. I don't bite. I will share my prices with you. I'm not going to high pressure sell you. So book an appointment with me. Third and lastly is my link to my website, which is www.masteryweightloss.com. And there's everything you can know about me on there, my stories on there and everything else. There's even a free masterclass on there. And my link tree, so you can get there by going to linktree.ee/FatFighterKen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ken. And we will come to your favorite quote or motto you live by before we wrap up today. But firstly, how people can connect with me is all my links are at linktree/Aldwyn. That's linktr.ee/Aldwyn, spelled ALDWYN. And we do have the Global Good News Challenge happening right now. It's absolutely free. It's a great way you can lift your vibration by getting into gratitude and sharing good news. And the whole idea is to help lift the energy on the planet and help to decrease depression and suicide rates. And you can participate in the July challenge right now, 7 days for July, anytime before the end of July. So you can check out that at the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Pinned to the top is all the details on that. And also I'm going to be launching a very exciting program soon, teaching people how to do their own TV shows online. So stay connected. Go to Eventbrite if you would like to get updates on our future events. So it's all in the link tree. Check out all the links there. My calendar I will be updating as well for August. I'll be taking some more appointments next month after I do my 3-week trip. So book a time in there once that gets updated in the next 24 hours on my calendar link there. And now... we've got a few more. Oh, in the circle of life. I love that. Justin says in the circle of life with the circling. Very cool. The circle of life. We were in.
I like the way I like thinking of it that way. The circle of life, and we all were in that circle of life at the same moment, at the same time. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. In fact, that's so yes. I'm going to give it my yes button.
Well, yes.
Yes. Okay, Stacy, what's your favorite motto or quote that you live by?
Oh, and I've been living by it since the minute I left Utah and put myself through college. If there's a will, there's a way.
I love it.
Me through everything.
And Ken, what about you? Yes, I love that one. Where there's a will, there's a way.
In light and in honor with the fact that I have got Stacy on here, and she's not only an amazing person, she is red-pilled, wide awake, and a patriot. So I am going to share this particular quote because I know she will love it, especially because of who it's by. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation, by Donald J. Trump.
J. Trump. That's right.
Yeah, love it. And I'm going to share mine here from this little poster I had done up. Be the change you wish to see in the world, as Gandhi says. And also, this is a reminder that you are awesome and a gift to the world. You are awesome and a gift to the world, and you deserve the very best, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us here today on this epic mammoth session here of Total Truth Show, the truth about dating your dream partner. Any final words, Stacy or Ken, before we wrap up?
Everyone just remember, become what you want to attract. That's the biggest thing to remember and take from in this whole thing.
Yes. Beautiful.
And be, as much as possible, learn to be in a state of being.
Yes, love that. And remember that hurt people. So if anyone's being nasty right now, just send them love. Sending you all love right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Please share the love. Let us know what you got from this right now. Connect with us on Facebook. Check out our other episodes. We've got some awesome episodes. I think this one is one of our best, though. Oh, it's going to be hard to top this one. This was absolutely awesome. It'd be great to have you back sometime too, Stacey. You're amazing. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being our guest today on this show. It was an absolute pleasure having you here, and love your passion and your zest for life. I love what you're up to. So keep up the great work. And Ken, we'll see you soon on another Total Truth Show episode as well. All right. Have a great night or day wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.